Welcome to another one shot brought to you by the students of S.H.I.E.L.D. I am Mikey, and joining me today are my co-hosts Seamus and Alec. And today we are back at it again with another panel. What panel that I've been looking forward to this entire semester, which is basically titled "Remembering Marvel Netflix." We're gonna talk about all of the Marvel Netflix shows, give you our thoughts, talk about our favorite moments, give you a ranking, all that jazz. So thank you two for joining me today. It's gonna be it's gonna be eventful. I'm hoping it's not gonna be too long, but you know, all right. So yeah, I guess we'll get to it. So obviously because we're not gonna give our like first impressions because we don't want this to be too long. So we're just gonna get right into it. But yeah, we can't talk about Marvel Netflix without talking about the one that started it all, the GOAT. Probably my favorite superhero. No, it is my favorite superhero show of all time. Is talking about Daredevil. Uh, which came out in like the first season dropped I think April 10th of 2016. And it's obviously starring our boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Charlie Cox, as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. Actually, you know what? We can give like while we're on this slide, we can give our like general like impressions of like the show like overall before we break down like the seasons and all that stuff. So like who wants to go first with that?
uh, Daredevil is probably the best Marvel Netflix show, and probably the best superhero show because it's just solid. And Daredevil is like probably the most like the best character to do a TV show about because
Mhm.
a lot of his shit's grounded and it's very easy to to film, and it's not really that intensive and stuff like that. So, but I don't know what the writers were on when they were writing the show, but they were going crazy with it, and I don't know why it didn't translate to the other shows, but
Yeah,
this show was like it was like on like a separate like a whole nother level than the other ones.
that's true. I agree.
Well, I'll just say this about my experience with the street level. It's the heroes on the MCU. Um, I started to watch the shows out of order. I saw them out of order,
Hmm.
um, and I did not see them live until starting with Luke Cage season 2 in 2018. So I believe I saw Daredevil the second show. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
because I saw the Punisher first, and then I saw but Daredevil. I saw the first season of the Punisher first. But concerning Daredevil, it to me is the most consistent show across the whole entire franchise of the subseries. I think um, it's a stellar cast, and it's a very grounded, dark, and gritty superhero series. I guess if you can even call it, it's not it's not a traditional superhero series. I'd say, but Charlie Cox, I think, but we can all agree he kind of cemented his place as the face of the sub series, I guess you could say. And straight from the first episode, I was like, this is going to be a enjoyable watch. And but concerning the Daredevil, it's the best action. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh yeah.
It's overall the most consistent of the shows, I'd say, and I enjoy it a lot. I really do.
Gotcha. All right, so I guess it's my turn. So I'm like one of the biggest Daredevil fans ever since I was a kid. Like, granted, I knew about the character once I watched the film, that cringy piece of gold. But
Oh,
listen, listen,
I'd say that.
listen. It's we're not talking about that right now. But love the character, love the comics, especially the David Mack run. That's one of my favorite runs of all time. But yeah, when they announced they're making a show on Netflix, I was like, yo, let's see how this goes. And then I saw that first trailer, but when I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I was like, yep, I'm in. And then I kept reading more Daredevil, read Born Again, read The Man Without Fear, read like just doing more of my research. And then when the show came out, I was, oh god, this was, and I loved it because I love street level, I love grounded takes on superheroes. So the fact that like agree with like Alec, this one is the most consistent, has the most best action, best performances, I believe as well. And then plus like if you the thing is, like, when you watch Daredevil and you like, take away the superhero aspect of it, like it's still pretty good, like crime drama, which I think is pretty great. So yeah, that's what I thought. This is out. Yeah, and also this is like my favorite. This is my favorite like superhero show of all time, like hands down. So yeah, that's what my general opinion on this was. Also, like this GIF, I remember like at that time when the show was coming out, like this was like one of the motion posters promoting the show, like for the first season, and I was just like I kept watching it. I was watching it over and over and over again. I thought it was so cool. Like it was just so cool.
So hype.
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll just get into like this each season. So like starting with obviously season one, and obviously I put in here like my favorite posters from each season. And Storm also says like this is so cool. Yes, this is very cool. Thank you, Storm. And he said I love Marvel. We also love Marvel. That's why you're here. So
Storm, you're kicked out of the club, Storm.
yeah. But yeah, I put my favorite posters from each season on here. This one was done by Joe Quesada, which I love, like the black and the red. I think it's so sick. But yeah, so we'll just talk about just some moments, some characters, all that stuff. But yeah, obviously we can talk about the main cast. So obviously we have Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, Vince D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, Karen Deborah Ann Wool as Karen Page. I forget who plays Foggy, but like because I just know him as Foggy. I don't know if y'all can like help me out with that. What
Isn't it Eldon Henson?
Eldon Henson, okay, as Foggy Nelson, and surprisingly Rosario Dawson as Claire, aka Night Nurse. That was great. No, dude, listen, man. Wilson Fisk is as synonymous as Charlie Cox as Daredevil. We all know that. Obviously, we're watching Hawkeye right now. We're all seeing the rumors and stuff like that. Yep, Seamus. We're just like, oof, waiting for that Kingpin reveal. But yeah, I thought everyone like just like the general cast, like especially like these five were really strong. Especially like I loved the relationship between Matt and Claire. That was really cool. And as well as like Matt and Foggy, with the Nelson and Murdoch like starting up in the first season. But yeah, like Wilson Fisk, dude, like I loved the fact in the beginning he was the man, like the puppeteer, the boss hiding in the shadows and revealed himself. I thought that was really dope. But yeah, some other stuff, some other characters moments. Ben Urich, I loved Ben Urich in the show.
He was. I feel like he's when they talk about Daredevil, they don't give Ben Urich enough credit, and
They don't.
he was such a good character in this, and I thought it was just like he was like one of the better parts of this season.
Yeah, like especially because like in the he plays a big role, especially in when Bendis jumps on Daredevil with Mac. There's an interesting run with Ben Urich in there. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great character, and the fact that I did my research. Turns out the actor who played him, again, name escapes me.
Vonnie Curtis Smith, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Vonnie Curtis Hall, that's what it is.
Vonnie Curtis Hall, yeah, great actor. He was under like he had other obligations scheduling wise, so like the only that were too tight when they were filming. So the only thing that in his contract, like when doing the show, it was meant that like he would do this one season and they'd have to kill him off because he was doing other roles. But then like I had never heard anything after him after this in terms of his acting career. So like I hope I don't know if those I don't think those other obligations panned out. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was new to me because I was so mad when they killed him off in this season. What's Alec? Do you have any thoughts on Ben Urich?
And I'm gonna say it's been a while since I've seen.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
But that's the thing about the whole Defenders shows on Netflix is that they are so extensive that it has a lot. Like every show has a lot of side characters that go under the radar. Some like us probably aren't going to remember everyone, but Ben Urich, I remember him being a mentor to Karen because he helped her get into it's the news place. I see, like I'm already forgetting.
Yeah, the Sentinel, I think is what's called. I don't know. The Bulletin.
Yes, yeah, the Bulletin. He got her in. Like, he encouraged her for that. If I'm remembering it correctly, and that's how she became who she was. It's with the Bulletin. It's with her boss. But Urich, he was a strong supporting character, and it was a shame when he died at the hands of Fisk in the penultimate episode, strangled to death. It's not a way to go out.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Really
That scene
not.
always that makes me laugh though. That scene always kills me. When Kingpin is just like, "I am not here to threaten you. I'm here to kill you." He just
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like it's not like it's not like it was like a goofy scene. It just makes me laugh because I think I've seen it used as a reaction on Twitter so many times. I just can't not think of that now.
It's a big 180. It's a really big 180.
It is.
But no. About Ben Urich, he's a supporting character who helped pave the way for Karen, and we can't forget him for that.
That's true. That's true. I thought the actor did a great job. But yeah, some other characters listed on here. Stick. I love Stick. I love Stick in the first season so much. Again, for people who don't know, like Stick in the comics was Matt's mentor and was also blind, just like him, who was a part of the chase, which is further on in the other seasons. What's it called? Matt, no, we did not talk about D'Onofrio yet. For my money, he's the best part. He is the best part of the show. We love.
We're gonna have like I think an hour of this entire show is gonna be us just talking about.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to get all the other characters first to talk about. But Stick, played by Scott Glenn. I love Stick, dude. Like his like charm, his like humor, his kind of like his asshole demeanor.
Yeah, he's like a total dick.
Yeah,
I think he's a strong example of tough love, and by tough love, he makes Matt's childhood kind of rough, and the same is with Elektra, but that's for jumping ahead. But he's definitely not a nice mentor, and it takes the strongest to learn from him. That scene, I think it's like around or it's super early in season 1 when he is having to sit with Matt in the park talking about the ways of the world, and like testing Matt for his skills aside from his sight. It's from the accent. He goes, "So how does that man smell?" Or like what flavor ice cream? I think
it was like vanilla.
Yeah, that scene establishes Stick for who he is, and his scene with Matt. His whole thing with Matt. And yeah, Stick's a very he's a big man. He's a example of tough love.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Also to talk about as well, like Battling Jack Murdoch. Again, don't know the actor's name because I just know him as the characters, but I loved how they did Battling Jack, especially like on contrast from the movie, how bad they did Battling Jack in that film. I loved his like looming presence throughout like the course of the story, and especially like the flashbacks with Matt with the accident, Matt like adjusting to his newfound abilities and with his blindness, as well as realizing that like his dad is in bad with like criminals, especially when fixing fights. And I thought that his dad was again, like in the comics, is the push he needs to like set him out on the right path. He doesn't want to end up like he doesn't want his son to end up like his father, like him. You know what I mean? Like he wants it, like do better for himself, get good grades, end up being a lawyer, get out of this place. I thought that was great. What are your thoughts on Jack Murdoch?
I think he's very underrated, and like especially in season 1. I don't hear a lot of people talk. Same with like Ben Urich. Him and Ben Urich, I think, were like way better than they had any right to be, especially for like just like a quick like, oh, it's just Battling Jack. You're gonna see his backstory, but like he was like, not only was he a great choice for the role, but he was also like a genuinely like interesting character. That even though he was like with all the in bed with like criminals and stuff like that, fixing fights, he still had like, you know what I mean? Like you see why Matt is so heroic, because you see he gets it completely from his dad.
That's true. What's it called? Alec, you have anything to say?
He didn't have much of an on-screen presence, but his presence was felt. That scene early on, showing a flashback of him in his apartment with Matt, talking about their hardships, and his last message to him is before Jack got gunned down. Right? Is that what happened to him?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's because he didn't throw the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, he taught Matt his morals really, and yeah, he was not the best father, but a loving one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, so then obviously like the last one is Vanessa. Then we can tie it back to Kingpin now because now we can have our hour-long Kingpin talk because I like the fact that like this woman is what tries to that not really changes Kingpin, but like kind of gives him a sense of like more
Purpose.
yeah purpose, a sense of like wanting something like to protect. I thought that was really interesting, and just like here's the thing though, this is what I loved because in the comics she didn't know that while they're together that he was like the Kingpin of crime, and when she found out she was like disgusted. But in this she was kind of all for it, like she was like, you know what, listen, do what you have to do, man. I respect it.
She was the Lady Macbeth of the of this show.
Yeah, I'd say that's actually a pretty good. That's actually a pretty good connection there. To be honest with you, that's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better that they made the choice to like have her know that Kingpin is Kingpin. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It makes it more interesting and it changes it up so it's something that you haven't seen before. Which
hmm
I think that's why the show is also so good is because they change some things up. So it's like, oh, we're gonna change certain things so that way it's just because we don't want to keep doing the same tired like Daredevil stories that you're like, all right,
exactly.
kind of spoil yourself on the whole season if you go read this comic. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
That's true. All right, we have common things. Musa, yeah, Daredevil is gonna kick Green Gobby's ass like he did Kingpin in No Way Home. No fear. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's also true. But yeah, but like, obviously, like for the first season, this was obviously they took a lot of inspiration from the Man Without Fear. That's from the Man Without Fear with that the Frank Miller storyline. That I also like love to death. But with the costume, but I love the fact that like again, this was our introduction to Matt, his abilities, his sense of purpose, like and also like him basically take down all the crime syndicates along with finding out that there's a kingpin at the top controlling everything. Like I think it was like was it the Russians? It was the
No, Nobu.
it was Nobu with the Yakuza,
Uh-huh.
Madame Gao with the Triad.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty cool. Just like he was just like knocking them all down, but also like he punishing himself because like he got his ass beat so much, and then like I love the fact that like for the course of each season you see Matt just get better and better with his fighting prowess, but like in this one he's just getting his ass whooped like a lot, and
It's like every episode starts with him just like completely fucked up, like I'm gonna die in like 5 minutes, and he just somehow gets out of it.
yeah, it's brutal, and again, because it's Netflix, the violence is a lot, but it's dope.
Mhm.
Because I remember like the first episode, like when I watched like the first episode at like 5 o'clock in the morning going to school, and then like I just see Matt just like rescue those girls that are going into like sex trafficking. Shout out to Turk Barrett, I
Yeah,
love Turk Barrett. Turk
yeah.
Barrett's great. But him just beating Turk to a pulp, and then just like the credits, like the intro runs, I was like, dude, like let's go. Like I thought it was so cool.
But just to add to that, Mikey, it's only after that it's when Turk started it's to become a gag. It's a running gag character that like the shows after tried to make Turk a a a likable nuisance instead like trying to make people it's forget hey back in the first episode that started all this it's he was a trafficker. It's,
Yeah.
it's a human trafficker. So I feel like the shows tried to wipe that clean. It's by making Turk like it's like a big but like annoying. But
Mm-hmm.
just don't forget that like
Yeah.
he betrayed people. So
He did, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But Matt says Man Without Fear is is the best Miller storyline. Don't at me. I would agree with you.
I
I
think no, I think Born Again's a little better.
Born Again.
I
For
like
me,
Born Again.
I like Man Without Fear a little bit more than Born Again. But
That's
actually,
you're wrong.
yeah. Oh well, listen, opinions. But yeah, yeah, but I really dug the first season. Was my favorite until like the third season came out. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm trying to think what else happened because I remember like the first season did try to set up as much as they could involving like the future shows, like especially with Madame Gao. That was to set up Iron Fist. And obviously the Hand was like the looming threat throughout
Mhm.
like Daredevil season 2 and Iron Fist, and then Defenders. So yeah, let's see. Marvel's Netflix Daredevil. I can't believe it's not Daredevil season 3. I mean, oh, Daredevil 03. Listen, we no, we weren't talking about that. That's not what this is about.
It's not
Um,
canon.
it's not
Definitely
canon.
not canon.
I said Affleck's Daredevil be better being the multiverse of madness. And then Match is like no. um, but yeah, I'm trying to like yeah. Any other thoughts on season 1 before we move on to season 2?
On season 1. What episode was the hallway fight scene? Episode 2?
That was episode 2. Yeah, which is the first episode where he met Claire
Yeah.
at her apartment.
Mm.
I thought that was great. I thought that was I mean that set the stage for like hallway fights kind of being a meme basically
Yeah.
in terms of Marvel Netflix stuff.
That well, but that, in all honesty, set a standard in the in I would argue it set a standard in like at least the TV industry.
Yeah,
Because like it's correct me if I'm wrong, that's all one
it's one take.
It's one take.
Yeah.
For the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, maybe season 2 had a quick match cut. I don't know. What maybe I don't know. But no, it set a precedent, I'd say. So.
Well, Seamus, you have anything else to say on season 1?
I think season 1 is I think it's probably the second best season of any of the Marvel Netflix shows.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was just such a solid start, and it was exactly I think it's the reason why we got all the other shows in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think without it, if this weren't that good, you wouldn't be seeing Iron Fist or Luke Cage or anything like that. So
yeah, this was kind of the make or break. If this show didn't do well, then like none of the rest would have come out. So
yeah. It's also cool. Like I don't know the contracting issues at the time, but it's cool like how they mentioned the events of the Avengers. It's by calling it's by starting in the first episode calling the Battle of New York the incident. And I'm not here to talk about how it's all connected, but the show tried to establish it's set within a larger world. It's on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And they mentioned the Battle of Harlem from the Incredible Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked of how about how season 1 and essentially soon like the rest of the stuff is with on Netflix, of how they never tried to ingrain itself into the MCU too much. Yes, they mention it, but they kind of make it their own little bubble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I liked. Yeah, that was great. Also, a question: Did we get an? Did we get like a "When I Was a Boy" speech in season 1? Was that like season 3 or 2? I don't remember.
That was season 1 when he was in on the when it was the final episode of season 1 when he was sent. Well, like he got captured.
Yeah.
And then he broke out, and that led to the final battle with him and Matt.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. But yeah, no. Season 1 was great. And set up a lot of stuff. Again, was a great like crime drama just to start off to kick off everything. Yeah, man. I'm just remembering some other stuff like Melvin Potter, who becomes in the comics Gladiator.
Yeah.
Who makes the suit for Matt at the end. Especially like the final showdown with him and Fisk at the end, I really liked.
Which that was a complete total the mirror. So that final fight between them, it's the dialogue with Matt saying after Fisk says, I'm going to kill you, and he goes, take your shot.
Yeah.
That's a complete mirror from, I think it was around halfway in the season when he first fights Fisk. And Fisk goes, take your shot to Matt Vittori, and Fisk wipes the floor with Matt. And yeah, I like that parallel with them. And the fight, it was an overall fun conclusion.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, Matt also says that it's really cool that season 1 is just as much an origin story for Kingpin as it is for Matt. That's very true. It's kind of treated like they're two sides of the same coin in a way. Which I think is really interesting. And because we also do get flashbacks of Kingpin's origin, I believe, in season 1.
Yes.
So with his dad, I thought that was really interesting, as well as Matt getting his flashbacks as well. Season 1 is great, and because like they kind of set up Elektra as well with the flashbacks at law school. I thought it was great. I mean, and all the characters' representation are great. Again, Foggy, awesome. Karen, I'm always iffy on Karen like each season, but I thought she was okay here. And then obviously, like, I mean, Yurik, man, I wish we got more Yurik, but it's all right. So I guess we have no other thoughts. So we'll just move on to season 2, which was a kind of everyone agrees is kind of like a mixed season. Because obviously the first half of season 1, the villain was John Bernthal as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, and then the other half of season 2 was with the Hand. But yeah, just to talk about the first half. I think the first half of the second season is so strong because it's like John Bernthal as the Punisher, dude. Again, synonymous. Like I do not want anyone else being the Punisher except for John Bernthal at this point because he killed it. And at the same time, they did a good job of like weaving or like giving hints of his origin within that like second half of the first half of the season. And especially like the main theme is the idea of in terms of like morale, like moral ethics and just like code because obviously Matt doesn't kill, but the Punisher doesn't care; he'll kill criminals, which I thought was a really cool thing to talk about throughout the first half. Yeah, what are your thoughts on John Bernthal's performance, or just like the first half of that season because he was the antagonist?
I think that the first half of season 2 is stronger than season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
overall.
yeah. I think the first half of season 2 was like it was more exciting. It was more interesting. It was really cool to see. Like Matt, not only he had Kingpin as like his antagonist in the first one, and he was kind of like it was like a foil to him, and it's really interesting to see him get almost an equally as strong foil in the Punisher because it's just the scene where they're on the rooftop and Matt's like chained up and they're just talking is like the most like interesting and like well written scene in I think the entire show, and it's the best one. So that's why
Very human conversation. Well, not conversation. It was an argument they had about like about Matt talking about stuff with redemption, and Frank is the one who sends them to the morgue, making sure they stay down. And again, it's two opposing its philosophies that ends with Frank having to knock Matt out because Matt's a stubborn man, and so is Frank. And I don't want to say Matt is patronizing, but he can get preachy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I also really like that scene is because it's really like Matt is really getting into Catholicism when he's in there, and he's really like people can be redeemed, and and that's always a thing that I don't like when writers kind of ignore that aspect of his character because it's such like an important part is that he believes that everyone can be redeemed and that what I mean. So I think that scene specifically for me was why it was so good because they hammered home like the basics of the character and then they had these two characters like just have a talk and it was just so interesting and well written.
Yeah, that rooftop scene definitely just gets a kind of like sets up like the conflicting like moralities between the two characters. I love like again it's iconic. It's one of the most memorable parts of season 2 for me.
Even later in that episode, you get like the stairwell fight too.
Oh, dude, the stairwell.
You know what I mean? Like you get that scene where they're having that sick ass discussion, and then you get probably one of the best fight scenes in the show right after it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I think it's stronger than season 1.
It is. No, that hallway fight is literally incredible. Like I love that fight a lot. Matt says scene with Punisher in the graveyard made me cry. I love the first part of season 2. I mean, I remember that scene as well.
Thank you for mentioning that.
That scene,
in the graveyard.
That scene hit.
Yeah, but like that hallway fight is just especially because like Matt's restricted with a chain latched to him and a gun taped
to him. Yeah,
it's just like,
and he takes out the light too of like he cracks it out.
I love that. I love that when Matt like points the gun at like the guys who are coming at him, and it clicks, and there's no ammo in it, and he just kind of giggles and then
He
He's
just
like,
smiles.
shit
Yeah.
out of people, and you're like, this dude's so cool.
And the thing is, like, that was a kind of a reference to the whole like no Mister Nice Guy cover, like in the Frank Miller run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought it
Which is
was.
it's just another layer of just like how well the people who make the show know the characters of like not only are we gonna have them do a badass scene, but it's also gonna be a reference to like a really iconic Daredevil comic book cover. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Just like it's that's why I think this is better than season one, only the first half.
yeah,
It,
for sure, for sure.
it, yeah, but now, like, but now that we talk about this stuff, I have a kind of a well, it's not really a hot take. Season 2 overall, it was a mixed bag. It is for most, but just having to think about it now, season 2 overall has a lot more memorable parts compared to season 1. I feel.
Mhm.
I I don't know if it's just my memory, but I kind of remember a lot more from season 2 than 1. Not like trying to but bash it. I'm just saying like, oh yeah, like but that's coming back to me.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we'll play a little bit of it while we talk. But yeah, no, for sure, I totally agree. What's going on? Yo, Mr. Brooks, what's good? Yeah, we'll just play this in the background. But like to talk more about like the Punisher, one of my favorite things is how they kind of incorporate the like especially like with the logo, like the fact that like he took inspiration with the logo, the fact like he got shot in the head and survived, and like
Yeah.
the X-ray is what gives him like the what his insignia is gonna be. Um, yeah, also like the fact that I don't know why, but like wasn't the what was the book that he read to his kids was like one batch, two batch, penny and dime.
Yeah, yeah.
I love how it was like his mantra. Like I like that, like before he executed like a criminal, he would say that just to remind himself of like what he's like doing this for. I thought it was really cool. But yeah, dude, seems like that first half is just incredible. Like I love like the Punisher, John Brenthal's performance.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
I
Yeah,
liked how it was also like I think that was one of the most human like interpretations of the Punisher I've seen, where they really like were like they really got you to understand why he's doing it and kind of like you know what I mean, not sympathize with him, but you get why he's so hurt and why he's so angry.
He's
yeah,
an anti-villain.
I feel like a lot of, and I feel like that's why it made him such a good antagonist. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of the best antagonists in anything are antagonists where you can see where they're coming from, even like, but you don't agree with how they're doing it. You know?
yeah, for sure. Man, look at this, dude. He's just getting it's so good this fight, dude. Oh my god.
I think another little thing that I don't think a lot of other superhero like related media does is they kind of like they don't really show the heroes getting their ass handed to them.
Exactly.
Where it's like Matt gets like his like he'll like walk in and he'll just be like bleeding out, and then Rosario and then Night Nurse comes in and she's like, "Dude, you're like almost dead. You're done. Like you gotta stop." And then he's like, "Oh, I gotta keep going." And then in like later fights, he'll still be injured or have like a broken rib that he's still trying to like fight through. And I feel like that's what makes him even like way cooler is because he's like he still has these injuries, but he's fighting through them.
Exactly. Yeah, which is what I like to just throw back to like the first season. Like he literally like almost like got like an artery pierced and like still wanted to go out and kill criminals. Like
Yeah, like
it was crazy.
season one of the second episode of season one is literally 90% of it is him laying on the couch like near death.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, so obviously to move on to like the second half of the season was, but yeah, when Elektra shows up, played by Elodie Young, um dude, it's just the toxic ex-girlfriend coming back to ruin her boyfriend's life, her former lover's life, and I loved it. I think
I love Elektra in this.
so do I.
So
I think
good.
she's a great
I think
character.
everything around Elektra is the problem that I have with the second half of the season.
For
It's
sure.
just like, it's like you're already trying to do like Elektra getting killed, like that storyline, even though she just showed up, and you're kind of just like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, like I will say like Elodie Young did a great job. Like
Mhm.
I thought she did a great job as just like again just being a toxic girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. I loved
Kind of
that.
scary how good she did it. It was a little like,
Dude, it was listen, she had experience. Like, no, I mean it was it was good. But
I'm scared.
but I do agree with you, Seamus, that like everything around her, especially like how like the hand is treated around her, I thought
Yeah.
it was, a little, it was on the weaker side.
A little like I'm getting tired of this. Like, can we move on?
Yeah.
Give me something else because I
Yeah.
get that the hand is important and they can be cool, but like I always feel like 90% of the time when the hand is involved in anything like even comic related, I'm just a little bit like, this isn't really like the most interesting part for me because I think it's I think it's also partly because one of the first like comics that I read involving the hand was Shadowland. So I was just like I've been turned off from the hand since like I was like 10 years old.
That's fair. But yeah, I mean, besides all like the hand stuff with her, I mean, obviously like the best parts for me was the shut up. The her
Sorry.
relationship between how like Matt and her interacted as well as like their like angsty past because she practically almost ruined his life. Because I remember that one scene where she finds her his dad's killer and tries to have Matt kill him, but
Yeah.
obviously because of his beliefs, he
Yeah.
doesn't. He leaves him alive. Yeah, I just thought it was great. Well, her performance at least was great. Also, what do you guys think of like the change? The fact that like she ended up being like basically like a shadow, like an agent for the chase with Stick. What were your thoughts on that? Because that was it.
That was actually pretty cool. I like that. That was interesting. You know what I mean? It's like I think that I like a lot of the changes that they made because they made sense and they were
Yeah.
like weren't changes just to change something to make it different. They were like, no, this is I feel like this is what would fit in the story. So I liked it.
Alec, what were your thoughts on Electra Nachios?
I kind of remember as a member of the chase, like as a kid, she got locked in a cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Stick killed Stick broke her out, saying it's not how that's not how she should be raised.
Yeah.
I kind of remember that a little bit. I just remember her in a cage at one point.
Yeah.
But Electra, I thought it was hilarious that her of how she got introduced was immediately. It's preceding that was Matt's first kiss with Karen.
Yeah. Like
And
I remember that. Yeah,
yeah,
and the relationship between Matt and Karen, like in the comics, and then she just comes to ruin it. I love it.
like season 2 challenged Matt Murdock, but that time struggle is what led to him and Karen splitting up eventually, and eventually him revealing at the end of season 2 to her he's Daredevil because it was hurting not just it's their work and personal life together because Foggy knew at that point. So but no, it's cool of how like Elektra and Karen are complete juxtapositions because Elektra is the side for Daredevil and Karen's for Matt.
Yeah.
So
okay.
so it's kind of a question of like, so does Matt want to settle down or does he want to, submit to his inner at a time as a vigilante? So I thought that
the thrill of it.
Right, exactly, because that's partially like Matt won't admit it outright, but he gets that's part of the appeal to him is that it's the thrill of inflicting the punishment. So in that, he's not too far from Frank Castle. It's just Frank will go all the way, Matt won't. But yeah, so back to Elektra, I thought, but that she did great. Ellie Young was great. Yeah, it's cool of how she was used to set up because that corporation that her and Matt's staked out was the Roxxon.
Roxxon, yep.
Yeah, and that led to that scene right there at the Midland Circle. It's with the pit, and that was a big tease as to what's that being set up for. It's obviously it's for defenders, but that they did, yes, she was used for some other outside stuff development, but overall, I thought the character was great.
Yeah,
I thought that but she was cool and badass.
Yeah. Speaking of Midland Circle, we'll talk about how disappointing that shit was. I thought it was very disappointing what that led up to. We'll talk about that later when we do defenders. But yeah, like obviously like the hand showing up because Matt was like, oh, like I thought I drove the Yakuza out, and she's like, no, you didn't. Like they're still around. And in that picture here, we see like Nobu because he died in the first season. He got
Back
burned
from the
alive,
dead.
and then this is like introducing the whole resurrection. Now it's getting more comic booky type stuff with resurrection and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. And also the fact that like she was revealed to be the Black Sky, which is like a thing I still don't understand what the fuck is.
I
Like,
kind of do. I kind of do.
It was just a little. I got it, but I was just like, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
I don't care.
that's true. That's true. But yeah, season 2 was a little mixed. I mean, obviously the first half was a lot better. But I mean, listen, give me more Elodie Young. I love Elodie Young as Elektra, so like I'm chilling.
And speaking of season 2, it had the trial with Frank Castle's trial.
Oh yeah,
It was great, and then him meeting Fisk.
Mm-hmm.
Except also too. Speaking of which, Frank Castle had his own hallway fight in the prison
when he murked. Okay, that's also remember like that scene where he murked a bunch of those prisoners, and then like that one he stabbed a guy in the head.
Yeah,
it pressed onto his chest, and then we get like a bloodied like skull.
Yeah,
dude, that was such good detail. I thought it was in a nice little like Easter egg there.
Okay, wait, Mikey. Okay, I have some other but cool moments. I don't know if you plan to move on to season 3 right now, but I have another just super quick fire part.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, so so Colonel Schoonover, played by it's Clancy Brown. It's Mr. Krabs himself.
Yeah.
He was in for what, a few episodes as he was the
was he like his commanding, with Frank's commanding officer? I think. Like
yes,
officer.
yes. He was a CO, but he was also the drug dealer. But something black. I forget the name. But anyways, yeah. So he was. It's a surprise, but drug dealer, and then Frank Castle. It's having to team up with Karen after Frank faked his. Frank.
Mm-hmm.
It got out of prison, and he later faked his death on the boat and everything. But and also too, him having to team up with Karen. It's to find Schoonover, and that moment early on is when. So Karen has to enter the car, and Frank's playing Shining Star by I believe it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, if my history's correct. Who did Shining Star? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when Karen finds out that Schoonover is the drug dealer, and so he plans to take her out to murder her, she starts the car up, and it's playing Shining Star. It's after Frank faked his death, and it's like, oh my god, Frank was in that car, and that was a visual reminder to the viewers that Frank was there. Frank's scoping it out, and he killed Schoonover eventually. But yeah, no, I love Clancy Brown. And another quick moment from season 2 that I'm done with is when the Matt has to save Stick from the hand, and so Matt is having to fight some hand members. He's getting his ass kicked, and then Stick tells Matt, just breathe, focus on their breath. It's because it's so many, and so Matt listens for their breath. It's to find out who's where in the fight, and he takes them all out, and Charlie has a great moment of just him just high off of adrenaline. Like as soon as he takes down the last guy, he goes, ah! Like that, and then
Seamus,
and Stick goes, good job, kid, and I fucking love that moment. It's so good.
It's good. Yeah,
it's a minor moment in the retrospective, but season 2 had season 2 great standout moments on their own, but as a whole mixed. So
yeah, for sure. Oh, Seamus, you have any other thoughts before we move on to
the same thing? Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, same thing for me as well. All right, so obviously the best. This is the best. Season 3 is the best thing ever.
I think it's the worst season, honestly.
Oh, all right. Bye, Seamus.
I told you Born Again's my favorite Daredevil.
I know.
Fucking
yeah, but
come at me.
Daredevil season 3, probably the season I've rewatched the most because I love it so much. But yeah, again, this poster, I loved this. I forget who does it. I think it might be like Paul Rivera. I don't know. I could be wrong who does the artwork, but I love this poster a lot. But obviously, as we said, we kept saying before that it's based off the Born Again storyline, which it's so good, so goddamn good. It's like everything, and I like the fact that they take everything we liked from season 1 and just cranked it up to like 11. Like it's like the grittiness, the fact that we get Matt back in the black suit again, the
Yeah.
fact that it's just like again him getting beat to shit, but then building himself back up.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so good, and obviously, for people who don't know, if you don't know, it's weird, but you should know. This takes place after Defenders, so then like Matt died and died quote unquote in Defenders.
Went missing.
Yeah, so it's just, dude, this season is incredible. Again, obviously, Matt building himself back up. So is Fisk, escaping, not really escaping, but like getting put on house arrest back in his penthouse and basically like manipulating the FBI. It's just like it's crazy. It's nuts. Just also to add as well, we finally get the reveal of Maggie, Sister Maggie, who is revealed to be Matt's mom, who I've been waiting to come through since like season 2. um, and then as well as a character I thought was really interesting in this season that was added was Special Agent Nadeem. I thought he was an interesting character to play off of. Yeah, he especially in terms of like the perspective involving Fisk being an FBI agent who is trying to do the right thing, but it ended becomes a part of the problem. That was great. And lastly, because it's just I love this character to
Your
death.
favorite? I knew this was coming. We
He's
were
one of
about to
my
spend
favorite
another hour
villains.
on this shit.
One of my favorite villains of all time. Of all time, God damn it. Okay. Was freaking Wilson. Was I think his name is Wilson Bethel, the actor who plays Special Agent Benjamin Poindexter, who is inevitably becomes Bullseye or will become Bullseye. Dude, I love. We'll talk about him in a bit, but thoughts, everyone, on or Kingpin or Maggie or Nadeem or Born Again for people who've read it.
Yeah, this is the best season of all of them. It's just the best one. It's just the best because yeah, like you said, it's just everything about season 1, but it's more exciting. There's more shit going on. It's just so. The only problem I had is I wished in the final fight they gave Dex a version of the Bullseye outfit. Like just do like a little. Have him still wear like the Daredevil suit, but just have him draw like a bullseye.
That's what I wanted, actually.
That's all I needed. You didn't need to like give him his actual, But
Yeah.
other than that, it's flawless.
I think just to add on to that, Shane, I think what they were planning on doing, I thought because the way the suit was modified to fit Dex, like the gauntlets have like spirals on them. As a cool nut. So I think the plan was that he was gonna just keep the suit, spray paint or whatever, file the horns down, and just have it be like his Bullseye suit.
That's what I was gonna. That's what I thought. And that
been, but yeah, Alec, do you have anything to say? I can go off. I'm waiting for y'all to go first.
Season 3 is it's very good. It's very, very good. But like season 2, great standout moments. It's the whole ride is just a fun thing. It's not just on Matt's rise back and the Kingpin's its manipulation of the FBI, but it's also the individual story arcs with Karen at the with Karen at the Bullington having to cope with Matt now back. And eventually it's We See Your Family. It's her solo episode.
That episode I thought was the weakest one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was interesting to me at least. But we can talk about that later. And then Foggy having to run for deputy something, maybe I forget what it was.
I think it was Mayor.
Mayor. It's with Hightower. It's with his rival Hightower, and then how and then Foggy's family as well. His thing with Marcy. Yeah, it's just a lot going on in season 3, and it's not overwhelming. I was never overwhelmed with how much was going on, and again, it's got from Dex, from Nadeem. It's a lot of stuff in 13 episodes, and it's fun. Its third season is very good, very, very good.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So obvious. Okay. Well, in terms of like stuff with Matt, I loved again now that he's basically broken after having a building fall on top of him. he has to now build himself back up, even though. And I like how, like, again, like, it plays on like his stubbornness of the character, like the fact that like his body isn't in top shape, but he's still willing to go out there and put his life on the line
Mhm.
for justice. I thought it was great. Again, playing how that played along with like Sister Maggie and her character, involving like her guilt of like leaving Matt behind to pursue life as a nun. I thought that was interesting as well, along as with Father Lantham. Sorry, I forgot to mention Father Lantham in the
Oh
first season.
yeah. Oh my god.
But how he basically how he's been like a father figure to Matt, like post like his dad's death. I thought was really great, and how that plays along within the season. And obviously, he tragically dies by the hands of Dex. But that was great. And how Matt's stubbornness and his like thirst for like vengeance, especially when Fisk gets out, and it really like affects like his relationships, his friendships, because obviously that affects Foggy and Karen, because they thought he was dead for a while. But yeah, I thought this, and just like, and also again playing on the moral code like of killing, because he was, when Fisk got out, he was like, "Yo, I'm about to kill this fool."
Yeah.
Like there was that one scene in that he had where he was in Fogwell's gym, and I
Yeah.
love like, that Fisk as like a ghost in
Yeah.
his psyche taunting Matt, because he
Yeah.
realized like, what you got to do, you got to kill me. But Matt's just like, no, like
It's
Matt's
an
kind of like
internal
debating it.
struggle.
Exactly. I love that internal struggle he had with feeling if he could kill Fisk or not, and then at the end he doesn't do it because that's not who he is. I thought that was fantastic for the character. I mean, obviously, I could ask you guys what you guys thought about that, but I mean, I think we got to move on to like Kingpin, because Kingpin is just, dude.
I've got a lot to say about season 3, but we can't cram it all into this. So.
Yeah, man. Just like, yeah. Hold on. What's it called? Look, Matt got a comment and put up, said Fisk is my absolute favorite part of the Netflix shows. I have to watch season 3 just for him. Matt, you do have to watch season 3. The fact that you still haven't watched it hurts me a little bit, but it's fine. We'll get there. Dude, Fisk. Oh Lord. I love, especially the beginning, how obviously we're seeing him from end of season 1 going to prison, and then seeing him in jail that in season 2 just briefly. The fact that I love the scene in the beginning where he's making his eggs and doing his routine, and the fact that we see that contrast of him in his penthouse, but we see the reality where like he's just in a prison on like using a crappy plastic utensils and a shitty radio and like a crappy stove, and just like trying to listen to music and staring at the wall, because it reminds him of Vanessa with the rabbit and the snowstorm painting. I love that scene a lot. To see like this is him at his lowest, but again, he reminding everyone, yo, like I still run this prisons, because he says everyone be quiet, everyone's quiet. Like, it's still thinking, no matter what situation he's in. I thought that was great.
Kind of like Kilgrave a little bit.
Yeah, that's a pretty good.
Except he has power, like actual power.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously his deal with the FBI and how he basically manipulates the FBI from the inside. I thought it was in house arrest. That was fantastic. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Fisk, guys?
Speaking of Fisk, it's his lawyer. It's Ben Donovan. It's the guy.
Donovan.
It's with this. It's with the streak of silver in his hair.
Yeah. Oh, it was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it was cool, and also there's the fact that like we see characters like Turk, we see characters like Ben, they loom over in the other shows, because Ben also shows up in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Anyone have any thoughts on Kingpin? I know you have thoughts on Kingpin.
It's so good. Well, what else is there to say? He's like the great. He's probably the best Marvel casting I've ever seen. I think he's better. He's a better choice for casting than Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Okay. I think Vincent D'Onofrio not only is a great choice, but he's also just like a phenomenal actor. Because you know what I mean. You look at Full Metal Jacket and shit like that, where he's just like he's acting his ass off in like his 20s, and you know what I mean. He's just so good, and they know his character so well by this point that writing him is at this point probably just so easy, because he's just so good at it. And I think the fact that it would be like, I know there are rumors for Hawkeye and stuff about all this, and I think it would be like you're leaving money on the table to not bring these people back. Exactly. With like how not only good they are, but how popular they all are, and how everyone is always just talking about Kingpin's so good, Daredevil's so good. You know what I mean? And I think Kevin Feige finally last week was like, yeah, Charlie Cox would come back as Daredevil. We don't know when it's going to happen, but he's going to come back. And I'm like, yeah, that's like just that's the right decision to make, is just bring these great actors back who already know their characters and who have already proven themselves as just like phenomenal actors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I hope Kingpin shows up in more shit. I hope we at least get a fucking Spider-Man movie. Well, that's Kingpin, and it's Spider-Man and Daredevil fighting Kingpin, because I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like that would just be that's just like that's just you're that's just such like an easy ticket to just write a good movie. It's just like, oh, Spider-Man, Daredevil fight Kingpin. That's really it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Fucking moves. Was Mr. Brooks? Like, oddly enough, I decided to rewatch all these shows. Totally forgot Turk was sex trafficking in the first 5 minutes of Daredevil. I was like, what the fuck? I don't remember this.
Well, the shows tried to make you kind of like forget that, saying like, you know, I like somewhere in there, I think they were like, okay, so Turk can be a character who pops up who's kind of like a nuisance. He's kind of a chew toy. He's a butt monkey, but they try to make him like more like it's mischievous. Of like, you know, in Luke Cage, I think he eventually like it's a cannabis shop.
Yeah.
Um, and in Iron Fist, he is playing golf when he shows to, but when he gives Hope and Ward, it's a truckload of guns. I think it was.
Yeah. He ends up becoming like a gun runner as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, and like, same with Hogarth in Jessica Jones season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so yes, but the show's tried hard to make you forget that
Yeah.
he used to be a sex trafficker.
That's true. Also, Musa, that would be cool. That would be cool.
That's what
Potential
I'm
college
saying.
trilogy. Yep.
Or
That'd be
do it
cool.
in that TV show they announced.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be cool. But yeah, all right. So obviously, Dex. Oh God. Okay, so like, here's the thing. I love how they took a lot of free liberties to like change the character up, because obviously in the comics, we don't know a lot about Bullseye's origin. It's very like the Joker. It's very multiple choice. It's very ambiguous. And I like the fact that they took the time to say, hey, like, here's the character. Here's some groundwork. We're gonna give some like an origin for him. As like one of my favorite episodes. I think my favorite episode of season 3 is the origin of Bullseye, like of Dex. You know,
When yeah, especially that like scene of especially the, like about Fisk, like seeing his past play out. It's like trying to piece it together.
mm-hmm.
It's from his coach of how he killed him, and that scene in particular was really great. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I loved it. Like especially like this guy obviously discovering his ability, but the fact that like the idea of like his when his therapist talking about after his parents were killed, his the idea of like having like a North Star, having something to focus on.
Yeah, yeah.
He did that with he did that with his
Julie.
coach. Yeah, his coach. It was his coach at first. Then it was the therapist. She passed away, and then it was just like the
Julie.
Julie. Like
Julie.
that was really good. And how Fisk was able to manipulate that and and there be him being his North Star.
Speaking of that, Mikey, I'm speaking of him and Julie. Never have I seen a character fuck up a first date that fast.
Oh, dude, awful. What's it called? Awful. Actually, well, let's see real quick. Matt has a comment. I need an offer to come back as Fisk. The upcoming Echo show is a great place to introduce him, and would maybe could even be a backdoor into a new Daredevil, and then in my own dream world, Spider-Man in it. Yeah, I could see that. That'd be cool. Yeah, for sure. Like, dude, I loved how Fisk was able to manipulate him in a way, and just have him, because his therapist kept him in control and giving him the tapes and all that stuff. But then now having Fisk be his North Star, like, no, I gotta let go. I gotta have that primal scream, primal rage. I thought it was like, I was nuts, dude. And also like the action with Bullseye. Because I thought like it's very easy. You could like it could be very easy to be done well, but it also can be very easy to fuck up. I loved how they did it, like especially like the office fight with him when they first meet.
In the bulletin, in
the bulletin. Also, like, because Seamus, you read the comics, so like as much as I have. So what do you think of them using Dex as the play of like the other Daredevil that is framing him? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I thought that was like, because it's just the smartest route for them to take with this show. You know what I mean? You're trying to introduce so much in such a short amount of time. So I think it was just such a smart role to be like, Oh no, Bullseye is the Daredevil that's like, you know what I mean, ruining Daredevil's like reputation and stuff. And it was it it made it also fit with like Bullseye's like normal character where he just hates Daredevil. So
Oh
like of
yeah,
course Dex would like jump at the chance to be like, oh, I can fuck up Daredevil's life. Oh, I'm in. You had me there.
yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
I think he was like the Punisher of this season. He was just such a well done character, and it was so interesting to see him evolve over the course of the season.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was dope. Like I thought it was so cool. I'm just gonna play like the little Poindexter trailer that they dropped. Nah, I thought this was a great change. I was very upset when the show ended and like they do the bullseye tease at the end, and it's just like it doesn't pay off because the show gets canceled.
Mhm.
But dude, yeah, Primal Rage. Dude, I thought it was so good. I thought this dude did a great job. I hope that we inevitably see him come back as well because I'm like, again, to add what you said, like it's cash money to not have either Charlie, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Wilson Bethel come back because it's just like, dude, it's just it's too good. It's too good. Yeah, I'm gonna.
That's I just a super big thing though. But that scene with Dex when he pulls up to Kingpin's his wedding and he has the body of Julie like in the
Oh,
passenger seat.
dude. Like I
Um,
love that scene where just like when Dex straight up, like he lost it. Like
yeah,
it's just, like
Yeah.
it's and you're just hearing Julie to say like, "Do it, Dex. Do it, Dex." I love that. Like it's just
Mhm.
like he's a broken character. He's a very broken character, like broken mental psyche type of character, which I love. So like,
Mhm.
dude, good stuff. Good stuff. But any other thoughts before we move on to now? Our hour long Daredevil
yeah.
conversation is done. We did it. It's good.
Good
Uh,
show.
yeah,
Good
it's a
show.
great show. So
The next hour is the rest of the shows, like all of
yeah.
them. I'm
So
But
gonna be talking like a caveman. I'm just gonna be like
yeah.
David Tennant, good.
So
leave
David
now.
Tennant good. But yeah, so obviously what's gonna come up next is Jessica Jones. Yeah, Jessica Jones. Uh okay, I will say this with this show, I didn't read I've never really read Alias by Bendis that much. I did a little bit when the show was coming out. But yeah, so I kind of went in the show kind of blind for me. I remember Kristen Ritter was cast. Like, okay, Kristen Ritter's I only seen her in comedy, so I was like, okay, how's this gonna work?
She was. I remember her in Breaking Bad. When
I
she was
remember,
girlfriend.
yeah, she was in Breaking Bad. I didn't really watch Breaking Bad, so I don't really know how she was in that. I remember her from She's Out of My League. That that movie.
Mhm.
But yeah,
She plays a very similar character in that movie.
yeah, she's basically Jessica Jones in that without the alcoholism and the
Yeah.
superpowers. But yeah, what kind of dragged us all into watching this was obviously David Tennant. But yeah, I thought
Yeah.
this show was. I thought the first season was, and we'll talk about it each season. But the first season I thought was really good. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. So what were your general thoughts on impressions of Jessica Jones, guys?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it is. I think it's better than all season one, at least of Jessica Jones. Better than all of Luke Cage and better than all of Iron Fist and Defenders. I think it's right around Daredevil season two with me.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. Carrie Ann Moss was good. Kristen Ritter was good. I really liked the noir detective style of the show. Really fun. David Tennant acted his fucking ass off in this entire show, and he was so good in it. And that's like 90% of the reason why I watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember was it Nuke showed up in it, and he was
That's
like
what
a second
that's what.
character.
Mm-hmm.
He was cool. It's Nuke. You can't really do much with him, and
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I watched the show for David Tennant and David Tennant only, and it delivered on David Tennant being great.
Yeah, so Al, before you say anything, we'll just do season one real quick. So obviously we got David Tennant as Kilgrave, who I still think out of all of the villains that they get enough, he's the most like vile villain. He's like the scum of the earth. I think he's like generally like a disgusting human being, and I'm just like, yep,
Yeah,
killed it. We had Rachel Taylor as Trish, which I thought was Trish Walker, who in the comics is Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat, which I thought was I think you just threw. um, but that was interesting how they were able to introduce another low like D-list character
Oh,
into
what that? Oh, who was that? She was originally supposed to be another character.
who I don't know.
I want to say it was Carol Danvers actually.
Really?
I
Well,
here wait.
well, because
'Cause I literally saw this article like a couple days ago where it was like, oh no, they, instead of Patsy Walker, they wanted to use like I think it was Carol Danvers, but then Marvel was like,
yeah,
no.
yeah, no, we got plans for. I mean, that makes sense because like, aren't they like really good friends in the comics?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that makes sense. And then we got this dude. I forget his name, the actor's name, but
It's
uh,
Eka something.
yeah, but he plays Malcolm, and I thought that was he's a really great character, especially in the first season, because he was a heroin addict. That was interesting, which I loved about the first season of Jessica Jones, the play on not just like PTSD was an instance, sexual assault was an instance with a theme, but also the concept of addiction, and I thought that Malcolm's character played off of Jessica pretty well in terms of like his heroin addiction and her alcoholism. That was great. Obviously, we got our boy Soul Brother #1 showing up in this. Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. That was I thought was really cool interesting in the season because I thought this because obviously they're a couple in the comics. They have a child together. Danielle Cage. In the comics, and I love the fact that in this season they kind of show not really like their love, but like kind of like their attraction for one another because it was the first time Jessica ever met someone who was like her who had abilities, which played into obviously like their sex life, and that was very interesting.
Interesting. That's how you describe it. I
And
see.
it was
Yeah,
interesting.
it was. She broke the bed.
Oh, word, yeah. The first time because it was really awkward because obviously like they didn't. It was a one night stand, but when they finally had powers, they got really more comfortable with each other and broke the bed. Or that was hilarious. But yeah, I thought Luke Cage was a good. It didn't. It felt right to introduce him here instead of just doing his show straight up as an introduction. But yeah, but I thought, and also how Jessica played into the death of his wife. I thought that was with Reva. I thought that was really good, and how Kilgrave played in that as well. Yeah, but obviously, as Seamus mentioned before, Frank Simpson shows up. Who
Will
is going to be
Simpson.
the character? Is it Phil? Frank? Will
Will.
Simpson. Okay, in the comics, his name is Frank Simpson. That's why I kind of got confused. But he is revealed to be kind of like the character of Nuke, who is in the comics a super soldier. Is Seamus, you know what number he is in terms of like Project Rebirth? I don't remember what like weapon something like.
I kind of here. I'll get it.
Yeah, let's look it up. Okay, we got Rebecca on here saying I think just season 1 Jessica Jones is my favorite and one of the strongest Netflix Marvel seasons, and makes me upset that season 2 is god awful. We will get in season 2. But yeah, and obviously Carrie Ann Moss reprised showing up as Jerry Hogarth, who in the comics is more of a Danny Rand character, but I like how they intertwined her with Jessica Jones, and and they gender bended the character. Well, that was really cool. So yeah, what are your Alec? Yes, not Alec. You can talk about what are your thoughts on each of these characters that show up and all that stuff.
On Jessica. Well, I will say this about the show overall. Jessica Jones. Concerning its foothold in the street level universe, I think Jessica is the most I don't want to say colorful, but the most theme heavy, I guess, with rape and PTSD, and it's also the most sexy.
Yeah,
because of it's a pretty sexy show. I'll just say that. And that show's cast of characters are very good. But Tennant is a great villain, very good villain,
vile
villain. He's one of the most despicable characters in the sub universe and perhaps the MCU, if we really go that far. Lots of great scenes with him though, of him being hateable, but also like it's David Tennant, and like you hate him, but you love to hate him, kind of. With Trisha, of her thing with Jessica, and Malcolm. Malcolm is the definition of character development.
Oh, dude!
Season 1, a heroin addict. Season 2, the office guy, right hand man. Season 3, he's kind of sex addicted a little bit, but he's he's a character who goes through development.
Yeah.
Mike Coulter is I don't know why that looks like a high school photo of a grown man. I don't know why the hell. I
That's
don't
so
know.
funny.
I don't know. Is that official promo?
That's a promo, yeah.
Oh my god, that's kind of unnerving. Will, hot sex scene with Trish. I was like, okay, cool. But also like kind of a loose cannon a little bit.
Yeah.
And Hogarth, I mean, it's Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, Carrie
Let's
Moss.
be real here. She played her role with Grace, like not just in this season, but also like all throughout the rest of the show. Season 2, especially her own character arc.
Yeah, for sure.
Great cast. Hope
Great cast.
Shotman is also in this in season 1. Like also like certain characters in season 1. It's like the neighbor Robin as well, who had the thing with her brother.
Yeah, I remember that character. I'll say this real quick. Like this one's gonna this Jessica Jones part is gonna be brief because I've only watched each season once and I've never watched them again. So like I don't really
okay. I remember a lot. So
that's good. We're getting through this quick. We don't need it.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, but Ramusa asks like, could Jessica Jones beat Wanda? In terms of like MCU, no. Comics,
Probably.
no.
I don't know. I think she's fast enough for you to just kick the shit out of.
I think she got a bit nerfed in this. Well,
yeah,
she was.
Well, it's also mainly because of the budget.
That's true because
they have her flying around and shit.
Yeah, they didn't want. They didn't really show her like she could jump like high, but they didn't really show that much either because budget. So
didn't they explain it as like she hasn't used her powers in a long time? So
but that's also it's an excuse for budget. Like, we can't afford this.
But yeah, season 1 of Jessica Jones I thought was very strong, really good. I might rewatch it again maybe at some point.
It's good. It's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone has more thoughts, nah, probably not. Alec, do you want to get anything off your chest or no?
I don't know how others feel, but Kristen Ritter as the Jessica, grade A casting in my opinion.
Yeah.
Grade A casting. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember from the first time I watched this season was that I feel like it was just like a couple episodes too long.
Like, I think I remember that with most of them.
I remember, but I specifically remember it with this one where I was just like, I was on like the last couple episodes and I was like, okay, I get it, I got it. Can we like wrap this up? I'm done.
Well, the turning point for me, it was the Sin Bin episode when she has him trapped in that vault or that cell.
Yeah.
And his parents come in. He made them cut his heart out with the Kilgrave, or tried to at least. And then with Officer Clemens. Officer Clemens is another character from this season.
No idea. Nope.
No idea.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
I will say this one thing I do remember from season 1, like towards the end, is when we see Claire again after shoots freaking Luke in the head with a like I think it was like underneath like his chin with a shotgun, like point blank range.
It was like this because again he was controlled by Kilgrave.
So. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool, and that's how again Claire is the glue that connects all these shows together. Basically,
she's the Phil Coulson of the Street Avengers.
Exactly. But yeah, so we'll just move on from season 1. Great, season 1 is fantastic. Season 2 and 3, I think, in my opinion, are like very forgettable because I did remember not liking them. But season 2, all I remembered from this was I thought, okay, I thought, okay, the thing was like, because I know the villain for this season was a serial killer that ended up being that was hunting down people in Jessica's life, and I remember it revealed that it was I think her name's Alyssa Jones, Jessica's mom, who survived the accident that gave her the accident that caused her to be taken and experimented on and give her powers. I thought that was an interesting twist with it. The only thing is I just did not like the actress' performance. It just was
this season felt a little too like soap opera-y. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it was like, oh, her dead mother comes back from the grave and starts murdering people she knows, and it's like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, okay, it's a little too. I can
yeah.
handle Daredevil coming back, but like Jessica's mom, who then turns out to be a serial killer, is a little like too far for me.
Yeah. Matt has a comment here. It says David Tennant is the best part of Marvel Netflix after Fist, but it's damn close. All right, I can agree with that.
Didn't
Um,
didn't David Tennant come back in the season too, as he was
Yes,
like
he
Visions
did.
and shit? I remember
briefly,
that,
yeah.
and that because I remember those were the best part of the show.
Yeah,
When David Tennant would come back in Visions, and I'm like, oh, we're back. It's good.
yeah. But yeah, I thought the her mother as the villain. I thought I think just the actress. I just didn't like the way her performance. I thought it was very just cheesy and just
Yeah.
But
That's
and then at the same time, it was the best part. And I think with my thing was that I was just surprised they did this was because again this season was more focusing on like enhanced individuals. So like what Agent of Shield was kind of doing with enhanced people. The fact
Supers.
that they did the Wizard, which
I,
is like
that
the
was that's
deepest
my favorite part of the show. Is I'm like, holy shit, we're getting the fucking wizard.
dude. Like that's like the deepest cut you could fucking make is the
Yeah,
Wizard.
that's how you can tell you're like, is there Marvel movie fatigue? And then you look at that scene, you're like, oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting to the bottom of the barrel at
Yeah,
this point.
and it's just like you can see obviously that GIF that I found. They're like, yeah, like the Wizard's a speedster that was in like old school comics. And if you remember him from the Spider-Man animated series, how I knew who the Wizard was.
Mhm.
Animated series in the 90s. I like the fact that like the Wizard looks ridiculous, and this dude he's just a big dude who has super speed, but he's not even he's fast, but like he's kind of like he's not that fast. Like, that
Yeah,
was
and I think the fact that his like it looks so like low budget and goofy
Yeah,
helps it
yeah.
be so
it
fucking
definitely
funny.
appeals
Is the
to it.
fact that it's just like they just sped up this dude's walk cycle. It's just like,
It's
oh yeah, that's funny, you know.
It certainly has appeal.
Yeah. And also, Doctor. I looked up the act the role.
So,
I think it's like
his
Doctor
name
Carl, something like that.
is so it's Dr. Carl Malice.
Who is a character in the comics? I remember him. I forget who actor who plays him, but I see him in a bunch of stuff. So I'm not even gonna just say his name. But yeah, I thought he was a little weak. Like he's not really that memorable for me. In terms of like a villain. Well, he wasn't really a villain. It was more so her mother. He was just the guy who was like, along for the ride, trying to like keep her mom under control. That's from what I remember.
Well, he saved her. Well, again, he helped save her, and he eventually it's became a thing with her, like the
Yeah,
lovers. It was like he essentially helped bring her back to the living after the
yeah,
crash.
yeah. But what I do remember from this season, which I didn't fucking like, was Trish being like, "Oh my gosh, so this guy can give people superpowers? I'm gonna risk my own life multiple fucking times in order for this, like, in order to get powers." Like, I remember, like, he does the injections on her, and she like nearly dies. It's just like Trish was just being dumb throughout the whole season. But then we gotta have her be Hellcat, so that she had to be stupid for a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought this season's very forgettable for me. Just to get my closing thoughts, it's. I thought the mom twist was cool-ish. I thought the wizard was just a deep cut. I loved that. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on season 2. I don't know if anyone else has anything to say.
I'm good.
Oh, Seamus, you want to say you can say it.
I don't have anything else to say. It's honestly forgettable to me.
Okay.
So the season 2 had some moments. Don't worry, I'll make it quick. It had that flashback episode with Trish and Jessica called AKA I Want Your Cray Cray. It's when so like about Trish, her pop
Oh,
star.
when you get music. Oh Lord, I hated that.
That music video was something. It was something indeed. It's like showing her, a high status. Well, a socialite, not
Yeah,
paying attention to her things, with Jessica having to meet Sterling, who gave her the name for her company, Alias Investigations, because he wanted to start his own thing, and then her mom killed him. And Hogarth had her own subplot with it was this season of her telling Jessica of how she has cancer.
yeah, that's how she's
No,
dying.
no. ALS. I'm sorry.
ALS, yeah, I
And
remember that.
and her thing with her thing concerning those con artists Inez Green, and I think it was Ryback. I forget his name,
Mm-hmm.
but of how Hogarth had her own little subplot of, so they conned her. It's with curing her, and she takes matters into her own hands by having Inez kill her own
Mm-hmm.
partner, and then
Yeah.
calling the cops on her afterwards, saying, "Oh, I saw this thing." I was like, "Holy shit, Hogarth!"
Yeah, I remember the love interest for her that like shows up and she takes care of. That was a part of Jess's case. Oh, yeah, I remember.
Steals from her too.
Yeah.
Like it's Hogarth got conned, and that what led her down this path of revenge. But it had a lot going for it. But
Yeah. I remember. God, that crappy music video. Jesus Christ. I also will say that I remember Simpson did come back. I remember he came back. I think he did die.
Yes.
And that led to Trish having a new addiction, because she wants to get as strong as Jessica to be capable. Is that inhaler that Nuke takes?
Yeah. It got her. Yeah. It kind of like enhanced her senses. It made her sleep with Malcolm.
Yeah, and made her stronger. It made her
Yeah.
a lot more. It made her like stronger and like kind of like dampened her fear. I thought that was like interesting thing. But yeah, this season was it was all right. It was okay. But yeah, to move on. Lastly, the most we'll talk about this one briefly because it's extremely forgettable. Oh my god, I hate this season. But season 3, garbage. Oh my god, like it's just swamp juice. To quote my boy Sean, swamp juice. It's just, dude. Okay, well, 3 moments I could remember. One, obviously from the poop emojis, you'll see what I didn't like. One, the fact that like we finally get Trish as Hellcat. I actually really like the stuff we did with her. The fact that she ends up basically being a villain towards the end. I thought was a great twist. With her character. I thought like, and when we get obviously the nod where we get the original outfits and then being like, this is garbage, and we got her kind of like her basic streetwear look. That was really interesting. But I like how she was kind of the antagonist towards the second half of the season, against Jessica. That was really cool, and I thought her powers were interesting. I mean, she was agile, had the strength, all that stuff. Rebecca says that I forgot there was a season 3. I don't think I even watched it yet because it was one of the. I think it came out before Daredevil season 3 did.
So no, it didn't.
It didn't.
No, it didn't.
Was it last?
Yes, it was the last thing.
It was last.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I remember I was super depressed. They ended off on just like I was like, oh, what a way to end.
It came out June 14th, 2019.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened. We had Benjamin Walker, who I know from my favorite guilty pleasure movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Who played a character who I don't care what his name is, but I thought he was dumb. He was a guy who had the ability to sense the wicked in people, or just like get headaches when he was around evil. I thought
he's like shitty Spectre.
Yeah,
shitty ghost.
His name was Eric, I think.
Eric, yeah, because I remember his sister and how we said previously that him and like she ends up getting with Malcolm like towards the end. But yeah, I thought it was a dumb character. I was like, dude, like. They needed a way for her to have Jessica not do her job and be a detective. So it was just having this fucking dude just like, I'm just gonna just be near evil and just detect the villain and just get nosebleeds and stuff. It was just stupid. Okay, worst of all, dude, Gregory. Okay, this guy, the guy who plays this actor who plays Gregory Salinger. My jaw dropped after I finished this season.
Looked up who it was, right?
And it was fucking Fool Killer. I was like, this dude was Fool Killer? This guy? Seriously? I was like, there's no way.
It made me hate the season even more. When I found that out, I was like, oh, it's even worse than I thought.
The man who is basically like a Deadpool type character or a Crossbones type character who murders, who goes after people that thinks are fools. I was like, the fact that they got this short Toby Jones lookalike guy to be Fool Killer. I was like, what? Like
he could have been so better.
He could have.
Imagine if he just spit in Spider-Man 3 lines. He's killed the man. He's like, see you, chump.
Exactly.
It's so stupid.
Like again, like the Netflix shows kind of strayed away from like them being a little bit too like focusing like making fun of the material, but like I wish that we got like over here like on the photo on the left of like him as Fool Killer, like in a similar suit, just going after people. I thought it'd been that would have been better. Did you have anyone read the Marvel Now Fool Killer run? I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I thought it was very underrated. Not a lot of. I was like, because I remember when it was coming out, and I was like, "Whoa, Fool Killer! We're doing that now." Like,
Yeah.
aren't there other people you could be given? And then I was reading it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is actually very good."
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me of like like it was similar to like when I first heard there was a Mr. Miracle like solo series, and I was like,
Yeah.
really? And then I read it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is actually one of the best comics of the year."
Exactly. So Alec, do you have something to say about the Gregory Salinger character?
Salinger is very similar to Kilgrave. He's self-righteous. He believes that people who get privilege shouldn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why he went after Jessica, because he felt that she had something that she didn't deserve. That's why he went after the supers. And he killed Dorothy. It's Trisha's mom.
Yeah, it's his mom, yeah.
So, he's very self-righteous. So his death was well-deserved, but unfortunately his death was the catalyst for Trisha's downfall. And for Eric, I thought he played a very grounded, he was like a male counterpart to Jessica, because they had stuff in common, shared trauma, like his I believe he told a story about how his dad he raped his sister or something, like as a minor. But his arc had a satisfying ending when, at the end of the day, he had a thing with Detective Costa, who people here probably don't remember. He was the smart detective from New York, first shown towards the back half of season 2. He's the officer talking to Jessica. It's most of the season, saying, "Joan, stay out of trouble," stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he had a thing saying, "Hey, so I heard that Jessica told me of how you can help," and he helps the NYPD locate bad people. So I thought that was a cool end. It's for his story. And for Trish, it was tragic what happens to her, of how she becomes obsessed with this, about having to be her own vigilante.
But I thought it was cool. I thought it was actually a cool part of the season that I actually
but alas, towards the end, she proves Jessica right when she almost stabs her and kills her at that warehouse, and unfortunately she gets sent to the raft.
Yeah.
So, but it's okay, because the end of season 3 had the quasi-return through voice only, of Kilgrave taunting Jessica, saying give up, because Jessica was going to leave New York. She gave the keys to Alias to Malcolm, but then she has the thing with Kilgrave in her head saying about him taunting her, saying give up, it's not your problem now. And then that famous final shot played to a song I can't remember. She turns around in stride back towards,
which I thought was actually like a satisfying kind of ending for a shitty season.
I was surprised at how good the ending was.
Yeah, like it was.
You gotta keep on living.
We'll talk about the other appearance. You know what I'm talking about when we get to it. But no, this season was just. I was sad.
Just felt like this show felt like shittier Berserk. Like it had the same themes and characters as Berserk, but it was just like not really as good or as nuanced or as like thought out.
Oh, it's another character that we all forgot about. First shown in season 2. It was the landlord Oscar.
Yeah.
Was the Hispanic guy?
I remember. I vaguely remember him.
Yeah, the artist.
Yeah. He had a son who liked Jessica.
Yeah.
And
it's cool.
Yeah, and he got shelved at the start of the season.
So. Yeah. But yeah, Jessica Jones, great start. Great iffy middle, bad end. I'm sorry. It just like, well, I do think that ending for season 3 was actually like a pretty satisfying ending. But yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on because I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be sad anymore. All right, so we're gonna move on to one of my favorite Marvel Netflix shows. It's the AKA the Wu-Tangification of Marvel. That's an actual quote that the showrunner actually said. Luke Cage, baby, let's go. Okay, so Luke Cage. All right, Mike Coulter gets his own show after appearing in Jessica Jones. All right, so Luke Cage. I'm gonna just say this real quick. I love this show. Is it the best show in the Marvel universe in the Netflix stuff? No. Is it pretty good? Damn good though. Yes. Okay. All right. So first season, right? Because again, I knew Luke Cage of the comics, and from like Heroes for Hire, and him and Danny are like my favorite duo in comics. I love Heroes for Hire. So now getting to see like how Netflix is going to interpret his origin and all that stuff, and now getting more of the street level, and the fact that it takes place in Harlem, and Harlem has a lot of culture, especially in terms of like African American history with with the Harlem Renaissance, all that stuff. I was down, and I was just this was I was really looking forward to the show when it came out, especially just the talent behind it. I think his name is Cheo Hadari Hoker,
Yeah. Yeah.
who is known for his stuff with like music journalism, with hip hop journalism. And I was yep. We'll get into it. Seamus, what were your thoughts on general thoughts on Luke Cage?
I think like speaking from without like a from a purely critical perspective,
Yeah.
I think the show is like has good. It's like about on the same level as Jessica Jones season 1 and 2. Like it's got rough spots and whatever. It's just got some bad parts that are just like but somehow, in spite of that, it's like I like it more than Jessica Jones.
It
Somehow.
is. I think it's better.
I just because there were like times where I would just be like, oh, this isn't that good, but I love this shit. Why am I still watching this?
Yeah.
And it was like the opposite I had with Jessica Jones, where I was on episode 10 of Jessica Jones season 1, and I was like, oh, end this shit. And then I finished Luke Cage season 1, and I'm like, oh, it's over. Oh, I thought we were gonna get like a couple more episodes. I was ready for more.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I like Luke Cage personally. I'm the same way where I'm like, personally, I really like Luke Cage, but I think it's not as good as Daredevil.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair. What are your general thoughts on overall on just Luke Cage? For a breakdown stuff.
The show overall, I'll leave it with this.
Yeah.
So Daredevil had the best action. Jessica Jones had the sexiness. Luke Cage, the show, had the best music and probably the most colorful cast of characters, in my opinion. Like it's like the characters that had the most like just a lot of energy to them. Each one could be remembered for something, I feel.
Gotcha. No, I definitely agree with that for sure. But yeah, we'll break down the seat. But you know what I'll say? Seamus, you know what Luke Cage got? So he said that Daredevil had best action, and then Jessica Jones had the sexiness. You know what Luke Cage got? Luke Cage got soul. Okay, he got soul, bro. Okay, all right. So we'll break it down. The season 1 of Luke Cage. Obviously, one of the best parts of the first half of Luke Cage, because Luke Cage had the same problem with Daredevil, where the first half was really good.
Second half kind of sucked.
Second half was all right. First half,
it's after Cottonmouth when died, I think.
Exactly. But Mahershala Big Hirsch Ali. Sorry again, Oscar award-winning actor Mahershala Big Hirsch Ali. Put some respect on his name. As Colonel Stokes, aka Cottonmouth, dude. Like this was it was Kingpin, and then it like second is Cottonmouth, dude. I thought Mahershala like again had some ruthlessness, but also had some swag to him. Like I thought he did a great job. He was having so much fun for playing like Cottonmouth, and again, I think this image of him juxtaposed in front of the Biggie photo with the crowd.
That was like one of those scenes where I looked at that and I'm like, oh, that's really good. That's a sick ass shot.
It's tough as hell. Like, no, I mean,
and props to the framing, like just props to the of how that shot was set up.
Dude, it was, and especially because after you see this man beat the breaks off this kid, dude, after and like seeing him like again. Like in front of the photo covered in blood, like I thought it was, oh my god! I thought his ruthlessness, his swag, the fact that like he tries his best to be good for the community, even though he's a part of the problem.
Yeah.
That was great. Especially when we talk about again like at the bottom with the character of Pop, which I thought was a very important character for the first half of the season. But dude, I just loved Cornell, dude, and like especially like again to play off what I said about him trying to be like showing like him trying to be good, like when with Mariah showing up, his cousin Mariah Dillard, played by Alfred Woodard, who like talks about how like his love for the piano, how he could have been something, but he ended up just being a product of what his family was, like the drug runners, the like the criminals. That was really interesting. But yeah, what any more thoughts on like Cottonmouth, Mahershala's performance? Any more things anyone else add?
No, he's good. He's great. Probably like the third best character in the entire Marvel Netflix.
Gosh.
He's good.
So Cottonmouth, Mikey, I don't know if you put this into consideration, but Cottonmouth has such an iconic laugh. I can't imitate it, but it tells you how iconic it is. There are stuff on YouTube of compilations of his laugh.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, of his chuckle. Again, I can't do it, but like if you hear it, you'll know it. Like Mahershala was honestly like having fun with the role, I feel, and like it was a tragic upbringing because like his mom, I think, sent him to because like his parents weren't around, so that's why he got into the crime ring with Mama Mabel. It's the Stoke / Dillard crime ring, and of how Cornell, he wanted to be a musician, and he his killing of his uncle Pete, that set him down this road, this sad road of like, well, he's in it now. He's in the business, and Harlem's Paradise, the club he's in charge of,
which is one of my favorite like set locations in Netflix, Marvel Netflix.
Yeah,
Paradise.
It's kind of like the cantina from Star Wars. It's like the Mos Eisley cantina. It's a wretched hive of scum and villainy. It gets passed down from villain to villain. Cottonmouth. It's Marshall Ali did. It's a great villain, and just great little moments with it. Like, it's good.
He has some of the best lines, man. Like, dude, it's like Cottonmouth was something special, honestly. And the fact that like sometimes I think, what if like he didn't die? Like how the show would have ended.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think that was in I think it was a part of the contract. I think the Mike Coulter has said on record, I think, that like it was always said it's for him, it's in a certain number. I think I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
But like some good lines of saying Jesus forgives, I don't. Him killing Tone, saying to Turk, it's you can not collect the money from Tone downstairs, Mr. Barry.
Dude, when he throws Tone off that building,
yeah,
oh my god, like it was, dude, so good. No, like
then finally him seeing from Shades. Shades isn't on here.
He's next.
Okay.
We got him for season 2 because I think I like him a lot more in season 2.
Yeah,
but,
everybody did, but no, Shades showing him stuff with the Judas on screen, and then Cottonmouth going,
so much.
and then Cottonmouth going, I can think of a few fools I'd love to baptize with that joint. And
bro, it's
good.
Especially that scene where you're just like, yo, how much is it? And you just gives him a piece of paper, per bullet. For real? Like,
for real, yeah.
It was so good. Yeah. No, but yeah, Cottonmouth, bro. Okay, we gotta move on. But like Cottonmouth,
yeah, I know.
Yo, everybody wants to be the king. That's like one of the most iconic lines like ever. Like I just okay, dope. But so second off, Rosario Dawson coming back as Claire, having a more bigger role. I think she had in my opinion, her role was a lot more substantial in here than it was with Daredevil. Obviously,
side character in the Daredevil.
Exactly. She's more of a fully fledged character in this, obviously, because we get to not just like, her motivations after season 2, because she wants to now help people with abilities. But also like we get to know like her mother and like get to know like her upbringing a lot more in Luke Cage. But also just like obviously them developing a relationship. I thought it was really interesting. And obviously that plays more into season 2. But yeah, I thought she was really great. In here, I don't know what anyone else's thoughts on Claire Temple. Seamus, you have anything to say on Claire in Luke Cage season 1? Oh wait, hold on, got you.
I got you. I'm back.
Okay.
Claire's very underrated. I really like her.
Mm-hmm.
I like how she shows up in almost every show. It's very funny that she's like the babysitter of these like lunatics.
Yeah.
They're constantly like naming their bodies, and she's sitting there just like, why would you do this? Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I really like her.
Yeah. Well, Alec, do you have anything to say on Claire and Luke Cage?
She's good.
Good. Okay. Dope. Okay. Obviously.
Misty Knight.
Oh my god. Simone Missick playing Detective Mercedes Misty Knight, finding the granulated sugar. Oh my gosh. But yeah, love this character. Me personally, as I said, Danny and Luke are one of my favorite like duos in comics, like Heroes for Hire. Second, like around that list, I love Daughters of the Dragon. So I like having Misty Knight here, and obviously pre her losing her arm, having so we just like I love getting to know her just like as just like a cop in Harlem, how she thinks, how she like actually like solves cases. Like I love the whole like again we talk about the thing with Kingpin and with Dex, the whole him like walking around and seeing like events play out. I love how that's how she thinks in terms of her detective skills.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and also like the way she meets Luke again, like very. It's very blaxploitation.
If you could cut the tension, it's with a knife.
Yeah, like I love like it's kind of like if anyone's watched like Superfly or like Coffee, like very
Coffee like, indeed.
Yeah, like very Coffee. Yeah. Alec, very. I get a lot of those vibes from that. From like that, but I love like that you can cut the tension with a knife. But I like the fact that like they don't end up like they don't really end up being together. They kind of like end up being like cohorts, friends, partners. Yeah, that was really cool. A little change, but yeah, dude, I thought she was fantastic. Season 1 isn't 2. I thought she was great. Okay, I don't know anyone's thoughts on Misty Knight besides her being great, like. Great.
She's fun. She's badass.
Yeah.
Hope she's back.
Yeah, dude. I feel. Listen, man. Again, Daughters of the Dragon, cash cow. Yeah. Again, talk about Pop. I forgot the actor's name, but dude, he's a legend in terms of like Black Hollywood. Yeah, I thought Pop was a great character. The fact that like he was a friend, he knew Reva because Reva grew up in Harlem, and his kind of especially because like Pop's barbershop in like the Black community and Black culture, like barbershops are kind of like the safe spaces. They're the Switzerlands. Like like a barber, in my opinion, is your barber, your friend, your therapist, your like it's. I love how they were able to translate that very well with Pop, the barbershop, as well as I forget the guy's name, dude. I didn't put him on my slides.
What?
Huh?
What?
The dude who's always playing chess, who ends up being with Luke for season 2.
It's
Bobby Fish. There we go. Yeah, but I love the fact that like he basically is the one encouraging Luke, because obviously Luke in the Netflix shows, he's very hesitant about. He wants to just mind his own business, stay the hell alone, be in hiding. But like he encourages him to actually like be a hero, be Power Man, which is what he calls him. That was really great. But yeah, I thought Pop was great. What are your thoughts on Pop or the barbershop, all that stuff?
I liked him. He was very fun. He was a fun character to have around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like he was like Stick, but if Stick had like emotions, he's sitting there like just do the right thing, and then Luke Cage is like, all right, I guess.
Well, the fact that like he dies, it ends up being that final push of him being like, I gotta get shit done.
That's what I love.
And again, his motto, it's always forward. Always forward. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like honestly is like a motto that like anyone can relate to and use. That's like a literal like life thing, So that was great. I'm trying to find his name because I know he wasn't Coming to America. That's what.
That's what you remember, yeah.
But yeah, because he's a legend, dude. But yeah, I thought Pop was a great character. I thought he was a great character. But moving on, so now the shitty portion, Diamondback, dude, Swamp Juice again, trash. Um, I thought the fact that like well in the comics, they him and Will Stryker, who is Diamondback in the comics, was the best friend of Luke Cage, who then betrays him to go to Seagate. That was really but in the chain this time around, he is actually the bastard half brother. That was interesting play on the character, but like I thought the actor's performance, I don't even want to look him up because I just didn't like him. I thought his performance was very dull, very like just like there wasn't anything special to the performance. I thought like
boring.
very boring, you know. So yeah, and then I did think that like there's some of the fights, especially when he shoots Luke with the juice bullet. I actually liked that kind of arc where like we see Luke vulnerable. That was like I thought that was really cool. The fight in the church, I thought like in the theater, that was really cool. But yeah, what were your thoughts on Diamondback or like the arc? Because I thought like the arc itself was interesting, but just Diamondback's just the performance was just weak. I just
boring, yeah, it sucked. I didn't like him.
Yeah.
It had some good moments again, like him shooting Luke, him saying "I'm your brother" and the way he said it. The final battle of Harlem on the streets of Harlem. It's like the whole like town. It's surrounding them again. Like it's him in the suit. It's from the suit of armor.
Yeah.
Again, because Luke's vulnerable, and he's vulnerable in season 2 as well. But he's toe to toe. It's with his brother fighting the soul of Harlem, as they put it. But Diamondback, I'll say this: the actor's name, whose name I also forget.
I have it actually up here. His name is let's see. His name is Eric LeRae Harvey.
Okay, so how he did it compared to Mahershala's Cottonmouth, it's definitely a lot more hammy. Like as you can tell, it's Eric is he's going for a hammy villain. It's Mahershala had a lot more character to him.
Yeah.
But he hammed it up. That's really all I can say about him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I did think the arc about like so now that Luke's like now vulnerable to the Jewish bullet, now having to get it out, having him find the scientist that had the accent on him.
Yeah.
Doing that crazy acid bath that was kind of cool. Was pretty cool. And they have like an end fight at the end where it's Diamondback and Luke fighting. Diamondback gets the suit that's like a nod to like the suit in the comics. And I thought that was really cool. But yeah, it was just yeah, I mean the second half is just kind of meh. I'm also forgot to put here as well D-Dub, the character of D-Dub, who has a small role in this but has a bigger role in the second one. Second season. I thought it was really cool. We'll talk about him more in the second season. But yeah, so obviously here I put the picture of my boy Method Man on here from Wu-Tang Clan because he shows up in this. I freaked out when I saw this. Like I was like, oh my god, it's fucking Meth. Let's go. And like they have like Sway in the Morning happen. I love Sway in the Morning. He does like the Bulletproof Love song, dude, which I still listen to. That was great. I just want to put that in there because like to show how important not just like the storytelling was, but how the music told the story. And we got very iconic like performances from a lot of like black singers, rappers. So like I remember it was like we got like obviously Method Man. There was like some some Rakim in there in season 2. Faith Evans, obviously the widow of Biggie. Like Sadiq, who it was. Dude, the music in this joint is crazy. Like it's incredible, and I love how it tells a story. So like yeah, well, I could go on for the music forever, but like
getting there.
Yeah, soundtrack, Tribe, dude, Mobb Deep, dude, okay, but yeah. So season 1, Luke Cage. Any other closing thoughts? I think it's solid, but obviously second half is a little bit. It's Daredevil season 2 basically. All right, so season 2 of Luke Cage. Low-key, a lot of people didn't really like this season. I'm the unpopular opinion of Marvel Club. Well, I was, I guess, but like, I love this season. Okay, it has some rough spots. Yes, all right, but I think it's a lot more fun. A lot more stuff's happening in this season, mostly because my boy, my guy, right here, Mustafa Shakir as
Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. All right,
Yeah.
yo, because this will put me on to the actor. If you don't know, I've seen him in American Gods where he played Baron Samedi. I thought that he did great in that. You see him now as Jet Black in the Netflix version of Cowboy Bebop. But
He's
dude,
American, right? Is he American?
he's American. That's the
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
He's so good with accents and just like stepping into like a character that I thought this dude was Jamaican, and I grew up around Jamaicans like my whole life. So like I thought this dude was Jamaican, but no, he's American. He's an American dude. But yeah, I thought he did a great job as Bushmaster. Granted, because like Bushmaster in the comics, no one cares about Bushmaster in the comics. You know what I mean? So they had a chance with like what they with Dex to fully like start from scratch and flesh out the character. And just like the fact that like my favorite thing about Bushmaster, the fact that like Bushmaster is basically Luke Cage, but like he can fight. Like he literally has a little leg up on him with the capoeira. Know what I mean? Like I thought it was like seeing Luke Cage get the crap beat out of him. I thought it was dope, especially like in public where you see what's his name. I forget his name. You know what I'm talking about? The guy from I'm not sure if it's like Sports Center or like ESPN or something. Like that. I don't know, but like that, I thought that was a great scene of just him, like like him taking down Luke Cage and being like Harlem's mine. I was like, bro, let's go. I thought it was so good. Like, it was so good. But again, like this season kind of plays with like Luke's ego a lot. How after, being the hero of Harlem, she has a little chip on her shoulder, and how he gets put back in his place basically with Bushmaster. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Bushmaster for anyone who wants to talk about him? I have a lot to talk about him, but y'all can go.
Yeah, no, I'll just go quick. I'll be quick. Bushmaster was the best part. Misty and I getting the robot arm. I just think everything else was just a little boring for me.
Okay.
I was just a little like sitting there like I just wanted to see more Luke and Bushmaster just fighting each other. That's really all I wanted to see.
That's true. Fair enough. Well, Alec, what are your thoughts on? Well, we're talking about Bushmaster. You can thoughts on Bushmaster.
John MacGyver, man. Who was his right hand man? I forget his name.
I forget his name. He's a Jamaican cat. I remember. I gotta.
It's not announced. It's not a Nuncy. It's because his uncle is
a Nuncy. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his right hand man.
Yeah, I forget his name. I forget his name.
Well, again, okay. So like about Bushmaster, great performance. I won't lie though. I saw it. It's with my dad. But there were a couple times that so my dad was like, Alec, I need subtitles. I can't understand what you're saying, so it was a thick accent, but it's on me because I haven't been around Jamaicans, so if the accent isn't accustomed to me. But he did great, fun performance. That quote by his right hand man saying John finally, he made it to the top, and except he can't, he can't see the view, or something like that. It's all played to the tune of Bob Marley. It's in the final episode too. John MacGyver, fun character. I like them. His first scene, his intro of having to kill the other Jamaican.
The Yardie,
Yardies, saying of how I
he's like, I am the Rock, dude.
I am the Rock, and like he cuts his eye, like slashes his face and cuts his eyes. Like, whoa,
dude, he has great action. His Bushmaster's action in this was so good, and Mustafa Shakir did a great job. Dude, the action, the stuff with the Nightshade, that was cool. Because when they said that he's also gonna be like a somewhat bulletproof character to kick into it, I was curious how they were gonna do that. So I kind of introducing the Nightshade, that was an interesting aspect of it. Also the fact that I loved that. So Luke Cage is actually Bushmaster is actually stronger than Luke Cage in terms of strength, but he's not as vulnerable as Luke Cage because when he gets shot, the bullets kind of dent into his skin a little bit. And, it's a lot more painful for him. But yeah, I thought, dude, him taking down everybody was dope. Because especially because like with the Yardies, the like all that stuff, I thought that was great. Him, but yeah, like stuff with his family, especially like showing like the Jamaican roots of the character, I thought that was fantastic. But yeah, man, I thought Bushmaster was probably he's on my top three, my favorite Netflix stuff.
Mhm.
He did a great job, dude. I love
He-
the character.
it's certainly a fan favorite
Yeah,
uh, from what I've seen, like from the Netflix community.
yeah,
Like as soon as season two came out, like tons of people loved him,
yeah.
and also his constant dump of running gag of like his out for Mariah going, it's Stokes,
Stokes, yeah.
it's not Dillard, it's
Stokes.
Mariah Stokes, and
Mariah
like
Stokes. I thought
yeah,
it was so funny. But yeah, but we'll probably I'll probably talk more about Bushmaster like further on with the other characters. He weaves into a lot of like other character arcs a lot
yeah,
in this. But like yeah, so now we can talk about Shades and Mariah. So like Shades and Mariah, dude. Okay, I loved how this the first half of the season was just Mariah trying her best to like leave the Stokes legacy behind with they're doing the community outreach and the
yeah.
clinic that she was setting up for like women surviving like domestic abuse and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then inevitably, like, due to Bushmaster reminding her that, she's a Stokes and she will always be a Stokes, she now embraces that and
Mhm.
and becomes like Black Mariah, how she is in the comics.
Yeah,
Just a straight up gangster. Like the scene where, she ends up murdering the entire like the restaurant where
yeah. It's
uh,
Anansi, like
with a
alive.
Nazi and his wife,
Yeah,
and then just and ends up burning a Nazi alive. And Shades just like, dude, I think like I'm actually scared of this woman now. Like, it was a great moment, and also Shades, the fact that like he's trying to keep everything under control after covering up the fact that Mariah killed Cornell, and the fact that like he has his boy Comanche coming in. Who ends up being a double agent. I thought that was really interesting as well. But yeah, what were your thoughts on Mariah and Shades?
so so Shades and Mariah are a very interesting duo. Um, I thought that Alfie Woodard, she's great in the role.
Mhm.
She does a unique balance of being hammy, but also like cold as well. It's like her freaking out, her having her outbursts are very fun to watch. And concerning Theo, it's Rossi as
Who's great?
Shades. So my dad, he wasn't a fan of his performance back in season one. He thought that he didn't have a lot to work with and was kind of flat. But when he was interrogated in season two, it's to confess to being, helping like her and everything. I remember it's my dad saying like of how he's much more greater here in season two compared to season one.
Mm-hmm.
And Theo, I feel, did have a lot. He had a bit more to do, like acting wise, in season two than one.
That's true.
But great characters. Shades had Shade's a mixed bag. Like, he's fun to watch, but he's also a tragic character, because, you
Yeah.
know, um, his thing it's with Comanche. Like him and Comanche were at one point, I think, deep lovers at one point, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm not sure
Um,
if it was really love. Well, maybe it was alluded to that, but they were like best friends.
okay, all right, well, fair enough.
I can see where
Uh,
you get that perspective from.
okay. Um, him losing a close ally and him having to confess, take everything down, and then he still goes to prison at the end, or
Yeah,
still
like
goes to
like the
jail.
walls straight up like close in on Shades like throughout like the second season, like slowly, and I thought that was really cool in terms of like his
Mhm.
character arc. But yeah, dude, dude, Mariah and Shades were, I think, shined a lot more in this season than last season for sure. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so then obviously other character is Tilda Johnson, played by again gorgeous Gabrielle Dennis. Oh my god.
Mhm.
But she ends in the comic. She's the character known as the Deadly Nightshade, and that if they actually do her costume at the end of the series, I thought was kind of wild. But yeah, I thought this character was she end up like really liking the character in the beginning, and then you slowly realize like how tragic like this character is.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in terms of like her not wanting to, again, the same thing with Mariah in the beginning, trying to stay away from the Stokes legacy, but also like the Dillard legacy as well, because she does not like her mother in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like she ends up leaving from being a doctor to ending up having her own like herbal like medicine,
Yeah.
with a mother's touch, that was interesting, and how she and her love for the community, and how her in ties with Luke, her interaction with Mariah and Shades, how that ends up, carrying her towards a more villainous route.
Yeah.
I wish we would have gotten it for season 3, but
She killed her mom.
she did kill her mom. Dude, I love that. That was a great twist, especially dude, I thought she was a great. She was a great character, and I wanted to definitely see what her arc in season 2 would have looked like. With how they ended. How they ended it. But yeah, I thought Gabrielle Dennis did a great job. Did a great job. Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on Tilda Johnson?
That scene. It's around the middle of season 2. It's after Luke saves it's Mariah from her brimstone. It's when Luke, his dad, it's Misty, it's Mariah, and Tilda all have to hunker down in that fortress. Um, it's Alfie has a great monologue of telling Tilda of how she was the product of rape.
Yeah.
That was a very powerful scene, when great acting from both parties, when about Tilda is breaking down, knowing that her mother never really
Like loved
her or wanted her. And that was a standout moment in season 2 for me, that like acting wise.
Yeah.
And it was like, damn, it was just it's a fucked up family. So.
It is a fucked up family for sure. But yeah, and then obviously, like Seamus mentioned, the Missy getting her arm finally. That was a really cool moment, and like I thought she used it pretty well. Granted, it was like janky, but it was like the prototype, like V1 version of the arm. But also, lastly, to talk about this, I love actually like this introduction of this character. Reverend James Lucas, played by the late departed Reggie Cathy, who passed away right after filming this. I thought this character was great, especially because we talked about how Luke mentioned like what happened, how he was framed for murder, and like how his family's essentially like sins and all that stuff, especially with Willis, with Stryker. Now actually seeing the man like in the flesh, and how he plays off of his son, I thought that was really great. Especially because we get to see like these men might hate each other, and like men not like each other, but like you can inevitably see like where Luke gets his swagger from. Like I love that, like and it was definitely mentioned a lot, like listen, like especially Bobby Fish being like, we can see, even though he's an asshole, we can see you got that swagger from somewhere, So like I thought that was great, and especially because playing on now going into Daredevil territory, more of like the Christianity roots of the character, like the Christian roots of the character. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Seamus or Alec on Carl on Luke's dad, basically?
I thought he was very good, and it was very interesting portrayal, and I thought that it worked very well within the series, and he did such a good job.
Yeah, for sure. Alec, what are your thoughts?
That there's a scene in season 2. Well, in the season, same scene, stuck in the fortress, having to avoid it's the wrath of the Bushmaster, when both Luke and his dad are talking about his power and about magic and everything, like about like about the struggles of being a hero. His dad has a great quote. James has a great quote that's played in the final scene as a voiceover when Luke takes over Harlem's Paradise. Something along the lines of like strength, courage. that's what that is what defines it's being a man. That's what defines it's being a hero. I thought it was a great quote. And no, I thought that those two had great scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just there's one thing that I remember again, like because again, like ego and arrogance plays a role in like this season. But like I love the fact that like again you see James Lucas suffers from the same thing, or like Lucas talking to his dad, like disrespectfully, and then he just whatever he says this one quote, I died because I thought it was so good. But he's like, man, I was rocking congregations before you were born.
Yeah.
It was so good.
When they meet on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny. But yeah, I thought like Luke Cage, I thought was pretty good. Yeah, I wanted to play this clip of like, dude, a Bushmaster just wrecking fools, dude.
Oh yeah.
I like when he gets like the concert version of Nightshade and just goes apeshit and just wrecks everyone. I thought it was so good. But yeah, Luke Cage, dude, like this scene is just like Bushmaster. Like I want to see Kingpin fight Bushmaster. Like Loki. I want to see this shit, bro. I think he could take him. I think Bushmaster could take him. Like real talk. But yeah, like yeah. So just to move on. Anyone have any other thoughts? Actually, you know what? Here's the thing, right? With Luke Cage, Iron Fist, because these unfortunately got canceled. They were setting up a lot with these two shows, dude. So like one thing that two things that I took from Luke Cage season 2 that I loved to death. One, that Luke Cage season 2 episode 10 basically gave us Heroes for Hire. Like this is literally
Yep.
Oh my god, dude! So when people are like, yeah, like season 1 Iron Fist, we'll talk about that how bad it was. But like, I literally was like almost like in tears because like I was like, yo, like this is like this is like the best written Danny Rand we've gotten. And I thought they did such a great job portraying like their friendship post Defenders, how they interact with each other, how they like like fight crime together. And really like that end fight in the warehouse where it's just like them jumping and playing like fighting a freaking Wu-Tang. That was great, doing the freaking bro fist at the end where dude, this is what I wanted. Like this is what I wanted like when I saw them interacting Defenders. So like yeah, what were your thoughts on this Hero for Hires like tease basically?
I will add this. So for some reason I think with this particular episode, Finn Jones got a lot more to work with.
He did.
Than compared to his own led series. But that scene in the barbershop, but fun episode overall. Fun little, like, it's a fun little what if of things that, it could be. That scene in the barbershop of how he's telling Luke of how he fought of how he fought the dragon.
Yeah.
And then DW
freaking
goes,
D-Dub.
Did you fought the Bruce Lee? I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I loved the interaction between like Danny, D-Dub, and Luke. Oh, it was so good. Like that was dude. Like yeah, Seamus, you have any thoughts on this?
I thought that was the best episode of the entire season.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I love Heroes for Hire. So getting to actually see them for once was actually like good. And Danny Rand was really good in this one. He was better than in his own show, which was nice.
Yeah, it kind of showed. Oh, sorry, Alec, go ahead.
Like also just a lot of like small fact for a nerd thing. It's funny too because but just before they show him that episode, Luke mentions something from Game of Thrones. He names drops. It's Game of Thrones, and Finn Jones was on Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, huh? Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I love this. Like the whole episode is just so much fun from beginning to end. Them meeting, them, having shooting the shit, them trying to fight crime, and then meeting Turk at the cannabis shop. At the cannabis shop, I thought was great, and him being like, "Yo, I like this bong, like the dragon bong, that was really cool." And him realizing like, yeah, like having because Luke's ego is leading to his recklessness, and Danny is the one to center him. I thought that was really great. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of this show that like you can do like whatever your opinion is on Finn Jones with the right direction could be a great Danny Rand. Like so those are my thoughts on it. I love this episode to death. I think it's great. But yeah, also sadly enough that the ending of Luke Cage season 2, which we'll never see again, is the fact that at the end Luke takes over Harlem's Paradise and basically becomes the new Cottonmouth of Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of also followed up in Jessica Jones season 3, where
very briefly.
Very briefly.
Very briefly.
Yeah, and what were your thoughts on this, guys? This upset me so much because we're never going to see this arc happen. Like
I knew that it was a turning point when he sees Claire down below on stage, except we don't see her because they couldn't get her to because of how Rosario left. But during season 2, like first half, but so him saying tell Claire to go home, I was like, whoa, a different Luke, and him having to shut the door on Misty. And I explicitly kind of remember talking to my dad, what could season 3 be? I think my dad said something like, I remember him saying, now I'm excited for season 3. It's of like having to see Luke like become kind of like a Godfather-esque position because he's the Godfather of Harlem now. He's the Vito Corleone of Harlem at this point. And yeah, it sucks. I would have loved to see Luke as the Dawn of Harlem in season 3, but it was a kind of the very enticing cliffhanger is what it was.
Mm-hmm. Seamus, you have any thoughts on this?
I thought it was a really, really hype setup for where his character could go. And the fact that they never got to follow up on it is depressing.
Yeah, it's so sad. Like I can't even imagine what I want to see, but like it ended on a really, really, really on a really high note.
It did.
It's unfortunate that we're never gonna see it, but yeah. So also, I just remembered something. Along with the Heroes for Hire tease, we also got an appearance from Colleen Wing showing up with that little fight in the bar for Dodge the Dragon. So like, I love this so much. So good, especially because like they were wearing their colors, like their outfits essentially. Yeah, what were your thoughts on just briefly before we move on this scene, guys?
It was hype as hell. It was so good.
It was so hype, especially when kids you see here just Colleen just drinking her beer, trying to like watch like Misty like fight with one arm. I thought it was really fun. Yeah, dude. Again, we'll talk more about the other dragon. We'll talk about Iron Fist as well. But I love their interaction with each other. Like again, the chemistry that Mike Coulter and Finn Jones have that works really well. I think Jessica Henwick and have the same amount of like great chemistry together. So
yeah.
Alec, you have anything to say?
I've got nothing to say really, except like it's two fun characters that like I think it's in it's in the second scene of it's mainly in the second season of Iron Fist with the Misty saying to it's to Colleen, why aren't you a cop or something like that. I can't remember that, but no, they have a lot in common, so it sucks we couldn't get that, or we might get it, who knows. But
yeah, that's true. All right, yeah, so to move on, so now we're gonna get into me actually ranting really hard now, because it's a character that I also like really care about as well. But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist now. Well, I'll just say quickly general thoughts. I'm a big Iron Fist fan. I grew up reading in 5th grade. One of my best friends, Ray, gave me a copy of his trade paperback of the Immortal Iron Fist run by Matt Fraction at Brubaker. First time I ever saw martial arts in a comic. I thought it was really cool. Just like the character, the lore, all that stuff. So now when we actually were getting a show with him, I was also very excited to see. I was originally, I remember there was like, they wanted to do Punisher so bad that they were thinking about maybe giving Punisher his own show and then having Iron Fist just get a movie instead, which obviously that wasn't the case. But yeah, I was excited to see this, and obviously, like we were very disappointed with the first season. Oh God, but we'll go into it when we rant. But yeah, what are anyone's general thoughts on Iron Fist going forward? Before we
It's
break.
the worst. It's the worst one. It's so
Yeah.
it's so rough. Like not even the action's entertaining. It's just so like I get tired watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's great if you want to like go to sleep really quickly. You just put on an episode of Iron Fist and you're out and like before the episode ends. But it's just not fun.
Yeah.
Which I think is like the worst thing a Marvel show could be is just not fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind we still have Inhumans.
That's true, and
I think
we'll
this
talk
is as
about
bad as Inhumans.
All right.
it's actually it's a low bar, but it's slightly better than Inhumans, I'll say. But yeah, well, Alec, do you have anything else to say? Just general thoughts or no?
So concerning the show, Daredevil action, Jessica Jones sexiness, Luke Cage, it's the music and characters, Daredevil, it's Iron Fist, most mystical. That's all I got.
Yeah, them trying to be mystical. Oh God. Okay, so we'll
Which I,
just
which I think they did better in season 2 than they did in season
okay.
1.
No, we'll talk about how much I actually like season 2 a lot more than season 1. Season 2 is actually okay. We'll get into it, but yeah, just to get this out of the way, season 1 of Iron Fist poster on there. There's only two things that are good with Iron Fist season 1. All right, one that we get Jessica Henwick, aka Wifey, as Colleen Wing. Okay, who is by far who shines brighter in season 1 than the main character. I'm not even gonna like she. I loved every scene she was in. I liked every fight. I liked her arc. It was just more interesting than Danny Rand, unfortunately. Yeah. What are your and second thing, Davos. At least the introduction of Davos. Going forward. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Colleen? Everyone going just to start off.
She was the best part of the show. She was easily like the felt like she didn't belong in the show. It felt like she belonged in Daredevil. That's how good she was.
Mm-hmm.
She was just so fun.
Yeah. What's it called, Alec? What were your thoughts on Colleen?
Her as a dojo,
Yeah, a struggling dojo sensei.
yeah, struggling dojo. I thought it was interesting. Like her thing with Danny, because Claire also soon gets involved. But no, I like Colleen. I really do. She's interesting. Like her. It was a plot twist too that she was a member of the Hand. Yeah. Her turn was interesting. Of how Danny is like, how he's the sworn enemy of the Hand as the Iron Fist, and him trying to convince Colleen and her turning was all interesting. And then I like Colleen. She's up there with Misty as like a
one of my favorite
character.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters. I love Colleen Wing. Yeah, the school, the hand twist, her fights, like especially like that. I know the only like the best fight in the season is the cage fight where she's at the fight club. I loved that and especially because you get the little teaser. She's like, "Oh, like what's your name?" And she whispers like, it's the daughter of the dragon." Everyone else like, "Let's go!" I loved that, and the fact too because like she is because she follows the code of Bushido. Because obviously I think she's half Chinese. Yeah, she's half Chinese, half Japanese, but she's more towards the Japanese route of things, side of her family. And the fact that like she doesn't like fighting for sport or fighting for money, and like the fact that she's in this club fight just to see how it goes, but then she ends up like in the course of a fight, she ends up like you look on looking at her face, she ends up enjoying it. I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Al, were you going to say something?
No, nothing.
Okay, all right, gotcha. But yeah, Colleen Wing is dope. I'll get into Davos in a second, but let's just talk about just Danny real quick. Finn Jones, Danny Rand. Obviously when this season, I was iffy on him. I just one thing that I did like that. Well, again, like obviously you mentioned the Hand. That's a change from the comics. Is that because Kunlun is not tied to the Hand at all. In the comics at all. So that was an interesting change because obviously they have to the hand is the looming part of like the defender, so they had to inevitably do that at some point. But yeah, the Danny Rand, I like the big change I did like that I thought was really interesting that I like that they played off of was the fact that like yeah, if someone who claims to be a child billionaire comes back after 10 years of being gone and says that I'm Danny Rand, let me have my company back, guys. Yeah, put his ass in an insane asylum. Like it wasn't going to be an easy step how it was in the comics. I like how they kind of fleshed it out a little bit.
Mhm.
With being like, the idea of like who is Danny Rand. I thought that was like really an interesting theme they played across throughout the first like few episodes. What I did not like was that again here Joy and Ward. Oh my fucking god. Oh lord. Well, Ward ended up having an actual like interesting arc towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But like the whole business side of things. This was Scott Buck show running. Scott Buck is notoriously known for being a terrible showrunner and director. Obviously, because he ended up work because I did my research. He ended up working on the worst seasons of Dexter, the worst seasons of Suits, and obviously did Inhumans after this. He was just trying to do Suits in this, which is not what Iron Fist is. There was too much business stuff, less martial arts action stuff, which I did not like.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the character of Joy. Joy was unbearable. Like I could not stand her. But yeah, Danny's arc in this was very just like again because like I think it was just like there are things with Finn Jones that like are iffy, but like also like the writing and the direction of that character I thought was terrible. Just like it's too childish, too stubborn. Like Danny Rand is a stubborn. He can be stubborn. He can be childish, but it was just too much of it. Like it was wasn't good. Also the fights, the choreography with Danny Rand. Like this man's supposed to be the best martial artist in the Marvel universe. Why does he look like trash when he's fighting? Like the choreography was so weak. But
Well,
yeah, you wanna
I think it was a thing that Finn had no time to learn.
either because I heard that he had no time to learn, or that he just refused to train as much. I hear either of those two. Those are what I'm hearing from that perspective. Um, but yeah, man, it's just and then like it's even worse. Like Harold Meacham was the villain and was boring. I think he was more boring than freaking Diamondback. It was just like, dude.
I remember about from Harold from it was kind of goofy, like how it was brought back to life from the hand, which it was a little bit just how the show approached it, but I explicitly it's remember Harold and I forget the actor's name off the top of my head, but him with Ward in I think it was a hospital and him having to mock the sick guy coughing.
Yeah,
Um like it made you think like what an asshole this guy
yeah,
is. Um like something I enjoyed was how more unhinged he became. He killed his butler. It's with the ice cream
he
spoon.
did.
And I forget the kid's name, but I was like, oh my god, like this is sad. It's like he's mocking him, like Harold, you piece of shit. But yeah, it's Harold was just like a despicable father, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, like that part I found him enjoyable with. Um, and concerning the Meachums, I actually enjoyed Tom Pelethony. I can't say his
Yeah,
last
I
name.
can't say his last name either. But
Um,
yeah,
uh,
Ward.
Tom actually, I thought did a consistent job in both seasons.
Yeah, he did.
I feel it's like him being the like annoyed surrogate brother to Danny. No, like it can't be Danny Rand. It can't be like he's dead. And then him finding out it's the truth about like oh my god, like it's actually him. Like and no, yeah, I like of how it was again him and Danny's family were childhood friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of how they grew up together. About the M&Ms, about the brown M&Ms.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Like, stuff like that. Joy, I was fine with. But yeah, how come Madame Gao's bad, Mikey? How come she's bad for you?
I don't know. I think it was not just Madam, not really like Madame Gao, but like just the hand in this. I just did not like. I just thought they were very boring. I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. In terms of the hand in this, not Madame Gao. I like Madame Gao, but like it's just like just the hand in this, which is But yeah, then Davos. We'll talk more about Davos season 2 because I think, but I did like the fact that like they changed it from like having him be his father's friend because that's how it was in the comics to like his friend that he grew up with in Kunlun. That was really cool. But yeah, just to close it off, I just had a very high expectation from the show from what I read from the comics because I'm a huge fan. I wanted to see, but like this needed to be like the raid of Marvel. Like I needed like great martial arts, like great mysticism, especially like with the spectacle with the Iron Fist, and all that stuff. I mean, it just was disappointing, very disappointing, because we didn't really get much of that stuff. We just got the suit season, like the new season of Suits with some Iron Fist stuff mixed in, and yeah, that's really all I could say. But yeah, but listen, we got wifey's in this, so I mean, that's a plus. I guess we're gonna move on because I don't even Seamus wants to talk about this anymore. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah,
I'm dying.
Yeah.
This show is killing me again.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? Iron Fist season 2. All right.
Shorter, but better.
Here's the thing, right? I genuinely think this is honestly one of my favorite Netflix seasons. Not because I'm like an Iron Fist fan, but like I genuinely liked like the changes that they actually listen to people and actually generally try to make changes to benefit like the character and like the story. Biggest change, they fired Scott Buck because Scott Buck not only failed once but twice. So
fuck Buck.
Exactly, fuck Buck. But what the big thing was that like they got what's his name Raven, I think his name is like M. Raven Metzner, who funny enough was the director of I think Elektra, which is printed to be the worst superhero movie ever made.
With Jennifer Gardner.
Yep, that clusterfuck. But so like they got him to showrun it, and they also got the stunt choreographer for Black Panther. The fights. I'm forgetting his name, but which I thought was a weird choice. I would have gone with. I always said that like if they wanted to do an Iron Fist show, how I do it, I'd get the guys from Into the Badlands, dude. That's stunt because I thought Into the Badlands was a great show, great stunt choreography. I thought that would work well with Iron Fist here, but they got a guy from Black Panther. That's cool. That's an upgrade. Great. But yeah, and also clumbing it down to 10 episodes. What I thought was a good step in the right direction, not just for like Iron Fist, but for the rest of them, because there's 10 episodes, there's no filler. It's the pacing for Iron Fist 2 was really good, really consistent. But yeah, man, Iron Fist 2, dude, is it perfect? No, but was it a step in the right direction? Yes. Like it was like Arrow season 5 for me. Like after seeing season 4 how bad it was, season 5 was redemption. This one was redemption. So like just to break it down, again, we got coming off of like Defenders. Danny's is leaning more towards being the vigilante now after what Matt told him to do, protect my city, all that stuff. Loved that. Also the introduction of a character I did not expect to even be in this show was the character of Mary Walker, played by Alice Eve, who in the comics, as you know, for people who are comics, is Typhoid Mary. Dude, I loved Alice Eve in this. I think Alice Eve killed it. Like
it's so weird for her to show up in this specifically too.
Yeah. But like after doing my research, they kind of used her as like a setup because she was supposed to be the villain of season 4 of Daredevil.
That would have been so hype.
And the way they kind of played it off, I love the way they did how they shifted the personalities. And again, Alice did a great job with her acting to showcase because there's the two sides. There's Mary, who is the very nurturing, loving, kind, very timid side. Then there's Walker, that's the more rough, rugged. That's the mercenary. And I love how they communicate with the sticky notes. I liked how like water was the trigger with Rain because of military trauma. Yeah,
From Sokovia.
and from Sokovia,
Yeah.
which was mentioned as well. Yeah, what were anyone's thoughts on her portrayal as Mary, as Typhoid Mary, basically?
I
Uh,
loved her. She was so good.
so good.
I wish when they I hope when they bring back Daredevil, they just bring back her as they just keep going, act like it never ended,
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
have her as the villain for season 4.
Yeah, I would definitely love that. Alec, what were your thoughts on Mary?
Oh, she's good. From the
Great.
stuff that but from the stuff that I remember, because I only saw the 2 seasons once, but I from a memory. But they did leave her, but with an open book, with her at Joy's apartment, saying, uh, "It's all be in touch," because because Joy hired her to take
Mhm.
out. I think it was Danny.
It was
Yeah,
it was Danny. Yeah, because the
it's her in Davos.
her and Davos teamed up because at the end of season 1 they met each other. Which
It's
also I loved. I actually liked Joy a lot better in this than I did in last season.
but wait, so like about Joy, she was against Danny. It's because he killed her father.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah,
and also lied about him being alive, which is like not their
yeah,
fault. So
yeah. That's right.
her being a dumb character. But yeah, dude, and also because Seamus, to add on to that, at the end of I don't even remember at the end of season 2, they
Mhm.
revealed that there's another personality that Mary has that's like more ruthless and more savage, and
Mhm.
actually like have powers. So like that was going to be the setup for Typhoid Mary to that third personality appear in season 4 of Daredevil as the villain. So I
That
wish
would have
we
been
got that.
tight.
I wish we got that. But yeah, man. So yeah, but also like again, more Dogs of the Dragon shit. So
Mhm.
you got Missy to come back and Colleen and them play off obviously perfectly, which is I thought was funny because like I like the fact that because Misty because obviously like Colleen and Danny share are have a I think have a really good relationship like as like a couple in the season. But I thought it funny that like Missy shows up, but like Missy is the ex of Danny Rand in the comics because because in Mortal Iron Fist run they were together. Well, that was great. Uh, but yeah, yo, what's up, Kay? What's good? But yeah, love more Dogs and Dragon stuff. But the best part, okay, the best part for me at least,
Steel
besides Pepper
Serpent.
Berry,
Steel Serpent.
Steel Serpent,
Steel
baby,
Serpent.
Davos, baby. Things like Davos coming back. I didn't think they were gonna do Steel Serpent this early, to be honest with you. I'm happy they did because, dude, Davos is again one of I think he's one of the best villains. He's so good, like especially because how he manages to get the Iron Fist in the first place, hiring Mary Walker to take Danny out, having him knocked out, especially like the way you do the tattoo
Mm.
with the corpse of that. You have to in order to get the tattoo, the ink, you have to get a piece of the Iron Fist tattoo to make the ink, and they use the cadaver of a former Iron Fist, what I think is the Iron Fist they showed off in the first season. That is in the old footage protecting
Yeah,
Kung,
yeah.
who have a theory of who that is. Well, not actually, I don't know. It's not. No, it's not that. But yeah, dude, like it's Davos was fantastic. I thought he was great, especially how him and Joy were like, how he kind of like used Joy for his own ends to become the Iron Fist, Steel Serpent. Thought that was great. And when he used it, dude, he murked people. He killed people.
He did. He did kill
Mhm.
people. Yeah. I
Like
remember that.
he was brutal, bro. Especially like when he has a twisted notion of justice because because I like how like him and Danny have a very different interpretation of like what the Iron Fist should be used for. Danny is using the Iron Fist, as like a tool for like justice, but like he uses it as a weapon
Yeah.
for against evil. Like so he's
Yeah.
taking out a criminal, he's taking out anyone who seems unworthy. Like he takes out like one of the shop clerks that doesn't give him information, so he just punches him he punches him through his chest and he dies in front of those kids who are the street kids with
Yeah. Yeah.
BB. I didn't put him on here, but like BB was a cool character as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, Davos's theme, dude, Davos was just fantastic. Yeah. What anyone's thoughts on Davos's Steel Serpent, dude? I loved it. I loved it.
He's so good.
Right. And what's his name? Sasha Dewan, who's the actor.
Yeah.
Great
Mhm.
South
job.
One. It. I know him primarily from he was an actor in a Telltale game for Game of Thrones.
Really? I didn't
Yeah, yeah,
know
he
that.
was. He was for all for like all the nerds who are listening. It's he voiced Riff Whitehill.
Okay.
So there you go. But anyways, Davos, a tragic villain.
He is.
He was a tragic villain. It's funny of how his appearance back in season one is he goes from telling Danny it's still a dumbass to
Yeah.
now going to kill Danny to kill Danny. And by his defeat when he's being sent to the medical region and soon to be prison, I remember saying like he's got no purpose now
Yeah.
because he failed at the one thing that he set out to do.
Yeah.
But and on that note too, I love of how the fists were color coded. Like with
Yeah.
Davos had red and Danny had yellow and Colleen had white.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
thought that
dude.
was
We'll get into that shit.
yeah, yeah.
But in the comics, it was more like pinkish, purplish. I think the red translates a lot more here, especially because like it kind of shows like their personality. Like Danny's like the golden boys. That's why he has like the regular like gold. And he's more corrupt and has a darker soul. So like he is red. I love that how that played into like their personalities. But dude, like Davos was fantastic, especially because like his relationship with Danny and how that falters, and especially how like it showed like his trauma with his family, how he thinks he deserved to be the Iron Fist, while like he thought that Danny got a free pass from his father, Lake
Yeah.
Kong, the Thunderer. Because I think Lake Kong, because he saw that like if my son got the Iron Fist, that would have been a problem. Like that would if he knew that he deep down wasn't worthy of it. But yeah. So season 2 was I thought was really good, and just to add on to that, also like that little GIF of like the still serpent like thing in the middle. I loved that shit when like they're promoting the show. I was like, dude, let's go. Like, yeah. So here's the thing, right? So obviously because Clay they got the song choreographer for Black Panther on there. The fights were so much better, especially because now this is one of my favorite scenes in the show where we actually see Danny Rand in like a somewhat Iron Fist attire, like with the mask. I love that. But like this fight scene, I think between basically like the fighter, like to fight to get whoever fight the fight who determine who gets to fight the dragon, Shao-Lao, I thought was one of the best fights. Is one of the best fights in Marvel Netflix. I thought it was just like the brutality of it. The fact that like these are two brothers basically have to beat each other to a pulp to see who gets to fight a dragon. Like it's just like it's crazy, you know. What are your thoughts on this fight, guys? If any of y'all remember it.
Hype. It was hype. It was just
Check
pure
this out.
like so cool. It was the coolest shit. It redeemed season 1 for me, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the fights in this season were really good. I remember the fight in the restaurant, the fight in the beginning with Danny facing the gangsters with the truck. It was dope. Like the fights were again. I wish they got the some team for like that are known for like like Hong Kong cinema like or martial arts like or like Into the Badlands was a good example. But like I thought the guy who did Black Panther did a great job here. In terms of the fights. But yeah, Al, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I'll be honest, I forgot about this fight until you reminded me of it because again, I've only seen this once and the memory goes only so far. But from the stuff that's coming back to me, it was enjoyable. That's all I got.
Yeah, word. But yeah, man, I love this. This fight was incredible. I think it was really good. But yeah, also, so now again, the same thing with Luke Cage. The show ends on such a honestly, this is one of the best endings for season 2. I think it's one of my favorite endings for season 2 in anything.
It's a cliffhanger,
dude. I was so
fucking cliffhanger.
But granted, so we're gonna mention what Alex said before that Colleen ends up being the Iron Fist, and I love this because here's the thing with season 2 that I love that they is like a theme that they fleshed upon that was kind of like kind of like an accidental thing in season one. That they kind of end on season two. Danny Rand sucks as the Iron Fist.
Mhm.
That is literally the biggest thing with this in this entire season. That Danny is sucks with the Iron is not worthy of the Iron Fist because that's how people felt about him in season one because of how bad the writing is, how the character was portrayed. You kind of take that with season two and be like, no, like you're right, like he isn't, and they kind of play that off with, and he knows that, and then that's like the lesson he learns. They're like, he's not worthy of the Iron Fist, but knowing that Colleen has been the fan favorite of the series, she's inevitably is worthy. And her arc makes sense that like she is worthy of the Iron Fist. So like, yeah, what were your thoughts on this, dude? I love the white. Oh my god, the sword, dude.
It's
Fuck,
cool.
cool shit.
I
It's
for-
bullshit.
I forget the name of the three sisters who did the ritual. I forget their name.
They're called the Crane Sisters,
Okay, yeah, oh, that's right. Okay, the
which is a
Cranston
nod
sisters.
to the comics because Steel Serpent, he is one of the weapons of like the seven heavenly cities, and cranes are like the animal of that place. But yeah, sorry, continue. Sorry.
No, I got nothing to add really, except like, but Colleen deserves it. She's
Yeah.
all loving. She's heroic in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she. I remember cheering. Back when I first saw this, is with my dad. We were like, yes. Yeah, she deserved it.
Yeah, but yeah, and also like again, like the pyramid, like the fist, like the white kind of resembles like purity and how pure of a soul she is. I thought that was fantastic. Like Seamus, imagine Dark the Dragon show, but like Colleen's the Iron Fist.
Oh
Like,
yeah. It's Iron Fist and Misty Knight, and it's just like it's Heroes for Hire, but like cooler.
dude, I would have. Oh god. Oh, okay, but like, yeah, Colleen is Iron Fist. Wifey is Iron Fist. Like, come on now. I thought that was fantastic. But here's the thing that kicked me in the balls, kicked me in the goddamn dick. So like the fact that season two ended up with, because again, they kind of played with the lore a little bit, how like only one person can be the Iron Fist. If two people have the chi, it could kill them both. So like the fact that they ended the show with Danny going to China to figure out who sold them, who Davos got the shipping container with the Iron Fist cadaver in it.
Yeah.
Danny getting the golden guns, and even worse, the villain for season 3 was going to be fucking Orson Randall. I almost cried. I cried because I was never gonna see this ever. I was so sad,
And look at Danny there. He seems like a gunslinger,
dude.
It was like, what is this?
I was so mad. I have never felt more defeated in my life when I was like, I'm never gonna see Orson Randall in live action, ever. I was so, oh god, like it was just, damn it. But the fact that also just to add on the fact that we never actually seen Danny like with the suit, which with the costume, which one of my biggest complaints with the series is like he's a billionaire, he needs to hide his identity, give him the suit, right? In season 3, he was going to get basically going to have the Orson Randall version of the Iron Fist costume, the jacket, the guns, the mask. I thought like that was going to be his costume. And I was so down for that. But yeah, basically just like him and Ward in China finding Orson Randall. I thought that was so good. Like, yeah, what were your thoughts on this ending, guys? Oh god.
It's good. It was up there.
It's up there, right? Like yeah. it ended on such a high note. Like such a great high note. Like it was like, oh god. But yeah, man, and also the mystery, like, how did Danny get the Iron Fist back, and then alone have 2 Iron Fists with like the guns? That would have been something to play off of really well that they could have done. Damn, we're never gonna see it. Fuck. Like, yeah, I'm also like the like just for Al because you don't read comics. The guns are an Orson Randall thing because in the comics, there's a technique that in the show they kind of played around with, but like there's an Iron Fist called Wu Ao Shi, who's called the Pirate of Ping Hai Bay, which they made Colleen's ancestor in the show. Because Colleen had a pendant that had like the cranes, which is like the wing insignia.
Right.
The back of it, it's the Iron Fist logo because it was originally like it's because it comes from her family. So she's an ancestor.
That was interesting.
So it makes sense how she's worthy of Iron because she's an ancestor of an Iron Fist. There's a technique called I think it's like lightning by fire, which is where you can imbue the chi of the Iron Fist into an object. So who else she used a bow and arrow. So then Nelson Wilson Randall used guns. So that's like they're gonna try to weave that stuff in with Danny going
Damn.
forward. And it was badass. They're like, dude.
Yeah, I
But,
I I I explicitly I would kind of remember like as soon as the cut to black, I was like, well, how do we go from here? Like, but where do we go from here? It was just like the end of Luke Cage season 2. It's
yeah,
like, what next? You know what I mean?
that's true. Yeah, but yeah, I wish we got some of this, but and also people don't know Orson Randall is the Iron Fist before Danny in the comics. He fought in World War One and it was awesome. But yeah, I just to close it off, man. Season 2 of Iron Fist was like straight redemption. I loved it. It had it granted because they listened, they fixed a lot of problems, and then the 10 episode count was a lot better in terms of like the pace. I thought was great. But season 2 is probably one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite like seasons, as well as like probably my favorite ending to a season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, any other closing thoughts before we move on to Defenders?
I just remembered too. Season 1 had Bakuto
It did have
playing a
Bakuto.
mentor. Okay,
Yeah,
I just remembered.
yeah. Which we'll talk more about in Defenders
All
because
right.
that plays with Defenders. But Seamus, you have anything to say? You want to move on?
No, Orson Randall was hype, and I'm sad we're never gonna get to see the Danny Rand Orson Randall version.
Oh,
That'd
dude,
be sick.
it hurts. It like literally hurts me. But yeah, all right. So obviously next, the culmination of all 4 of these shows, Marvel's The Defenders. And then we talked about this earlier that like before, I think before the show, before we started this long ass podcast, that this is kind of like mid. It's kind of like mid tier in terms of like all the shows. There's
It's like it reminds me a lot of Endgame, where like a lot of the actual elements of the show are a little weak, but like it's all of them together on screen, so that hype
Yeah.
kind of like like it covers it a little bit. So you're kind of like, oh yeah, it's a little rough, but like I'm seeing these guys on screen together.
Yeah, but to be fair, a fuck ton of hype was for this show. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
I remember like the press, like the San Diego Comic Con panel that they had for this. Like it was a ton of hype seeing these characters finally like come together as a unit. Um, dude, when I was going into it like very high bar, curious to see how they're gonna weave everything together because not only were they're gonna have the main 4 come together, but also like the characters that we've seen in the respective shows, like the supporting characters want to come and meet together as well. So that was going to be a challenge. Also, like, what the story inevitably was, because this is now the build up for the Hand. Like, literally, like multiple seasons of the Hand, and then, yeah, Iron Fist and Daredevil teasing the Hand. This is basically like the big shebang, and seeing how that was going to go. So those are my general impressions of the Defenders. I don't know, Alec, what are your thoughts on it?
So, folks, what do you get when you combine the action, the sexiness, the music, and all the mystical stuff all in one package? You get the Defenders.
Yeah.
Guest starring it's Sigourney Weaver, who died off before she got to actually do anything.
Mhm.
And that's one of my biggest complaints with the show is
Yep.
that the 5 fingers of the Hand are so underwhelming and just so wasted. Like, how could you get Sigourney Weaver, who has, amazing actress, legendary actress, has a bunch of like has a lot of niches to her belt, and she's killed off to serve as Elektra. I was like,
Mhm.
wow,
Yeah.
like what a waste. Like
What
it
a,
is.
what a waste. What I remember going, like saying out loud to my dad, I was like, well, I guess Sigourney, got too expensive, and that's why and that's why she dies off. Like, what? It's a 6-episode series, and I think she died at the end of. Wait, no, it's how many
No, it's
episodes is
8.
it?
It's 8. It's 8.
It's 8. She dies at the end of 6. I'm pretty sure. And I was like, well, I guess
Yes.
I
You had
she
to.
got too expensive, so
I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah, but
Yep. Done that.
yeah. Yeah, so Sigourney Weaver being wasted. The 5 fingers of the Hand I thought were interesting, but like because like they only Gao and Bakudo were set up prior, I wanted at least have instances of them in the other shows seeing them because like I thought like okay so it was like Sawande, the guy behind Nobu, like and Sigourney Weaver like okay, like like they're here now.
Yeah.
Like they're here now. Okay, that's cool. Like there wasn't like any setup to maybe care about them.
It's Sawande died off screen, right?
No, Stick chopped his head off.
Okay, wait, but who died off screen? I thought someone died off screen.
I think it might have been the Japanese one.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought that like they're originally like they're all originally from Kunlun, escaped how many years ago, and they've been like basically like resurrecting themselves, and they come from like each part of the world.
Yeah,
that was really interesting. Yeah, just like I just thought they were kind of like boring. They were just kind of meh. Like I just didn't feel like, especially like I think it was mostly because like their motivation I thought was like kind of iffy because they just wanted to like
live forever.
While Sigourney Weaver was focusing on Elektra, who comes back, which I thought was a really interesting thing. Like Elektra coming back, that was cool. And her like actually like being the Black Sky, even though like I thought the Black Sky would have power. Well, she did kind of have power. She had like super strength and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was just like I don't know. It's like I just wish that we got it. Just didn't have enough like oomph with like the 5 fingers of the hand. It wasn't like that threatening to me,
It's a great way to put it, Mikey. Is like that scene in that whole episode set in the restaurant of when it's when it's they all come together hiding out from the hand, just talking and having it's to get to know each other, and Stick comes in, he calls Danny a thundering dumbass. It's because he left his phone on, and that's how they're tracking them. And like Stick having to sit them down, explain the background of the hand, and saying of how they have been. It's behind the scenes of every major cataclysmic event in history: Pompeii, Chernobyl, and now New York. Which, as Loki came out, that Pompeii line's probably retconned, but or maybe it is. I don't know. But like him having to hype the hand up and saying like, oh, but they have been behind the scenes of every major cataclysmic event.
Mm-hmm.
That I found very intriguing, but it's just it was all fluff. Like it was all like it's having to hear that I found was a lot more profound than stuff actually shown.
That's true. But I think what this show like actually like has strength with is just like the chemistry between like all of like the characters that we've gotten to know. So like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. I again, you talk about the scene in the restaurant. I love this scene like a lot. Like I think now we're actually like getting to know like the characters, them interacting, especially because like when they're all introducing each other, like especially because they all kind of meet each other in a very wonton way in the first like 2 episodes. Like so like it's like I love the fact that like we get to meet like Danny and Luke meet each other out of like pure coincidence, and turns out they know someone that links them together, Claire. So like the fact, and I love the fact that they hate each other. They're not like their friendship wasn't a friendship straight off the bat. It took time to get there. Like I love that. Jessica Jones, same thing, being like her, how snarky she is in terms of like being like, this is all bullshit. This is all dumb. Like this is crazy. Like I just want to like solve my case and be done with it. Matt being like, y'all are all like in over your head. Y'all need to just disappear because the hand stuff. I thought it was so cool. Their banner interaction with each other.
Matt saying in that restaurant like, it smells like neon, and Luke goes, wait, but who smells neon? Like it's like, who is this guy?
Or like Jessica Jones like lifting up the thing and be like, whoa, like she's really strong. And then like you see Danny speaking Chinese, like you can speak. Why do the rich white boys speak Chinese? It's so funny. I loved it. I loved it. What's it called? Seamus, do you have anything to say on like the interaction and the banter between
that's the part I thought was the strongest of the show. Is the banter between them and the interactions, and that's primarily why you're watching the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
As sucky as it is, Sigourney Weaver doesn't do anything. I'm not really here for that.
Yeah,
I'm here to see them like fight each other and shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Also, I'm gonna have to dip out right now. I've realized I gotta wake up for a final at 7 a.m.
Holy crap! Okay. All right, bro.
All right, I'll see you guys.
We'll just have me and Alex close it out, but hey, good
luck.
You
guys do Punisher. Yeah, I like Punisher. Punisher's good.
Okay,
there you go.
Gotcha. All right.
All right,
see you. But yeah, dude, it's just this show is, and also like the interaction of like the supporting characters, because now you have what's it called? You have Trish and Misty and Colleen and Karen and Foggy all like in the same room, and Claire talking to one another. Oh, that was really cool. Um, but yeah, man, it's just like this show.
It sucks of how they didn't do much with the like mashups though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, here's the thing. Here's one of the most disappointing things for me in terms of this show. Let me just go back to my presentation. I did not like the fact that so now they tease all like the Midland Circling. That's been the mystery throughout all of these shows. The Midland
Right.
Circle. The fact that all it was just a bunch of just Shao bones underneath the earth.
A burial site. Yeah.
I was so mad. I was like, but why? Like, first off, why would there be Lao bones in New York? Like, how did that get there? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So because like it's a thing with Elektra and Danny was that wall, it was the portal to Kunlun or something.
That's okay. That's what I originally thought it was, because in the story how like they were after Danny the whole time, because he is literally like the funny like the fist was literally the key to open this wall.
Right. It's like yeah.
But like the fact that like I thought so like, hey, like they want to keep living forever, they want the substance. I thought, hey, what if the only place you can get the substance at is Kunlun? Oh, so how are we going to get to Kunlun? In the comics, there's this thing in the Iron Fist comics, this thing called the Rand Gate that was made by Orson Randall's dad, where it's literally a gateway that he made that could go through the dimensional barrier between Earth and Kunlun, so you can go to Kunlun anytime you wanted. That's what I thought that they were going to do, right? So like, and then also the payoff, we actually get to see what Kunlun actually looks like from a like actually like the characters interacting in Kunlun instead of just like distant shots and all that stuff. Which
Well, they did do some on-set stuff in Iron Fist, but except I get what you mean.
Yeah, granted, you need more of a budget to do that. Obviously,
Right,
budgetary constraints is a thing. But wouldn't that have been cool? Being like, yeah, word, we finally get to like we get like a Rand Gate type of deal. Have Danny get to go back to Kunlun after failing them,
Yeah.
and then having the pair actually get to see what Kunlun looks like.
It's a culmination, like, but them dropping, them having to drop, it's the constant phrases like key and the doorway, and that whole setup with Elektra having to try to it's coerce Danny to open up the door and by punching it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, all we got was a set.
Yeah,
and I get what you mean. It could be underwhelming, but well, it kind of was underwhelming, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just me. Also, just to talk about just to like backtrack just for a second, Elektra. How did you feel about Elektra? I liked. I mean, obviously, I think she's better. She was better in season 2, but I liked. Oh, I kind of liked the fact that like yeah, she was kind of just like a drone for a little bit, but then like she ends up becoming like end up becoming like the villain along with the Hand.
Right.
Once she unfortunately kills Alexandra, and being like, oh no, like screw Alexandra, I'm gonna do my own thing. I kind of like that. What were your thoughts on like her arc?
I enjoyed that too. Of like about her transition was so like Elektra in the comics. Is she a superhero or like?
Yeah, she's kind of like an anti-hero.
Gotcha.
Because she was a part of the Hand, and she is one of the best assassins in the Marvel universe. So like she falters. Right now, she's kind of like a hero because she's the new Daredevil right now in the comics.
Okay, understood. So, yeah. Shifting her from being from season 2 of Daredevil to being a I guess a femme fatale character was interesting. Not a hero per se, but something akin to that. And then her dying, but by the Hand, her being brought back, and it's kind of like it was a rebirth of her being brought back to life, and her finding her sense of identity again by having to kill her superiors, and her telling Matt, "This is who I am." And when it's all collapsing, her wanting to die with Matt because they are meant for each other. At least the Daredevil side's meant for. Well, Matt's more his darker side is meant for Elektra.
Yeah.
I thought that was tragic and also kind of strangely heartwarming too. I don't know if that makes me messed up, but yeah. So, but yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and also let's talk about like the fight choreography. I thought like the fights were really good. I mean, I was gonna put the hallway fight on, but like I like this one where they actually like are like a unit. I like that, and you see Electro over here. Yeah, dude, I thought the end fight was pretty cool. like, and again, it's more Wu Tang,
it's
obviously.
more Wu Tang, yeah,
Um,
and and also too, like I find it kind of absurd, kind of in a funny way, of how are they gonna fight off with Madame Gao, who has an
mhm,
actress who's very older and can't do this kind of shit, and
yeah,
I found that kind of funny of like how are they gonna pull this off, like not in a goofy way, and they still kind of didn't.
yeah.
But it was sure it was kick ass. I like that.
It was kick ass. But yeah, just for me, like just like defenders, I like how we finally get to see them all interact, like
Yes,
main characters,
yes,
supporting characters. Obviously, again,
absolutely.
Misty Knight's arm gets cut off here by Bakudo. And again, like
Yeah,
Colin's arc with Bakudo ends when he comes back and then they have their final fight. And I like that a lot.
yeah, I
I
do
think
too.
just the weakest part is just the hand. Like I just don't I just feel like they could have done more with the hand, and especially like with Alexandra and the five fingers, and again like their end game. I thought would have especially like how much they've set up with the other shows. It should have been like a better payoff. Again, just having them go to Kunlun and all that stuff. Like I thought it'd been much better. Um,
It's like have a more grandiose ending.
Yeah, that's true. And also like they take references like this kind of story is kind of based off of like Shadowland, where like it's Danny Rand, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, like a lot of like the street level heroes are taking down like the hand. Like so like Shadowland is basically like the inspiration for this whole thing. I wish it would just like, I just want a better payoff with it. Yeah, so I mean and it was a limited series, so I don't think they were ever gonna do a season 2, right? Like because it was limited series.
No, no, it was just a one off. I'm pretty sure as far as they went or said
Gotcha.
back in the day.
Gotcha. Yeah, that band is like, hey, remember this? I love that.
Yeah.
But
It looks familiar. But
yeah,
they did leave it's with the building collapsing. From what we know currently, it's Electra's probably still out there, and Madame Gao. It's we never saw her die either. So
yeah. I think it was like Matt like Bakudo's like Alexandra Bakudo Sawande. I don't know if the Japanese guys. It was I think he was in the final
Murakami's
fight.
dead. He's dead.
Murakami's dead as
Well,
well.
no, I think he was also down there. I'm pretty sure he
Yeah, he
was.
was also down there as well. That's what. Yeah, he was down there along with Electra. So, yeah,
It's Electra and Gao, which they never like. It after this, but Gao's never been mentioned,
that's true.
and neither has Electra. So
Yeah. So yeah, this I thought Defenders was solid for the most part. Again, I wish it had a better payoff, but unfortunately it did not. And also like it does set up a lot of stuff that are in like Luke Cage season 2, Daredevil season 3,
yeah,
like Iron Fist season 2.
and
Um,
Jessica Jones season 2.
yeah,
It also took place after that.
yeah. So yeah, they did a good job. They saw it again. I just wish it was. We just wanted to see all these characters interact and be around each other and just fight and kick ass and eat Chinese food at a restaurant. It was fun. It was a fun time. All right.
Something I appreciated about the show too was
Mhm.
every time that they had those transitions from scenes to characters, Matt's was red.
Mhm.
Uh, it was it was for Luke. It was yellow, green for Danny, and like purplish blue for Jessica. And for Alexandra slash the hand, it was like white.
Really?
Yeah, like certain but those transitional um stuff like establishing shot scenes, it had like a filter hue to them. If you
Yeah.
go back and watch it, it's you know what I mean.
Yeah, and especially like the intro. I loved like
Oh
the
my god,
it was
it's
fantastic.
all the colors. Look at
Mhm.
the colors.
Yeah, it's just all like the colors and just like New York because like that's like their home, that's where they're based in. Yeah, I can see that definitely. Like they tried their best to like incorporate like the colors into like the characters, which I think was really cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought it was this dude. I thought it was this was, even though like if the payoff would have been better. I'm happy that we actually like got like a
Oh yeah.
whole team in live action for Marvel. So
Mhm.
yeah, but it's yeah. So Defenders, dope stuff. But all right. So lastly to talk about
3 hours
um,
in. So,
3 hours in.
sorry, folks, but
This is
here we are.
this is nothing new, guys. If you're not watching, you're not used to a 3 hour podcast from the Students of Shield by now. Like, come on, like it's whatever. But lastly, to end it all off, and to be honest with you, this is kind of like the weakest one for me, just because
Really?
I'm not really a fan. I'm not like a die-hard Punisher fan, so like I'm not really like too, because I only watched each show. I only watched Punisher once, but yeah,
Okay.
like the Punisher. Uh, I had to put this because I love this meme. But yeah, Punisher. Just to go into it, obviously spun obviously with the main performance from John Bernthal in season 2 of Daredevil. I was really looking forward to watching this. Obviously, like I wasn't dumb and not I wasn't gonna ignore it. But yeah, just going into it, I was expecting, just Punisher being Punisher murking criminals, like basically on his path of justice, ruthless justice, basically. Obviously, we got uh 2 Punisher films prior, well 3 if you count Dolph Lundgren, but we don't because that movie's not even like, it's unrecognizable to the character. But the Thomas Jane Punisher, which I think is actually a solid movie, and the I think is actually a gold gem, but Punisher Warsaw. Which is not great. It's as a movie, it's bad, but like I think it's so ridiculous that like it reminds me of just like '90s like Punisher comics. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, man, Punisher, I thought was like, that's going to do. I thought I was expecting, just Frank Castle just being Frank Castle. That's
Yeah.
basically that's what I wanted going into it. I don't know what your thoughts on it going into it.
To quote Russo, you know, but damn, Frankie, I love to get to watch you work. Um,
Word.
um, all the other shows had their single words to define it. The one word that I would define this show is blood.
Bloody.
Blood, and I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So I have a special. So the show has a special place in my heart because again, as I talked about, it's towards the start. This show, it was my first shows. It's among the series, but that I watched. I
Nice.
was scrolling on Netflix. I wasn't paying attention to like stuff about the Defenders at the time. I was strictly like the top tier MCU, like just movies. But I heard about these shows. I did. And of course I remember I was scrolling through Netflix. It's with my dad, and I saw this, and I was like, "Well, I heard about this, like at at that time, just the first season it was out." And I remember, like, I heard about this. I was like, "Hey, Dad, how about we like pop this on?" Mainly because we are fans of John It's Bernthal from the Walking Dead days.
Yeah.
And we put this on, and from the first episode, I was really confused. I was like, how come the show is opening with him having to kill off people that we don't know about?
Hmm.
And I didn't know that, again, it's a direct continuation from the end of season 2.
Exactly.
I didn't know that at the time. I was like, man, that's a kind of a weird opening. I don't know why he's doing this, but then I eventually learned. But Punisher season 1, I had a thrill just watching. I had a thrill. John Bernthal he's the man. He
He is.
he really is the man. Seasons but 1 and 2 were really good. Season 2 had a mixed bag.
I would
It's
say so as well.
not as bad as it is with the second season of Dare. Well, I mean, it wasn't. Season 1 was strong. Season 2 was good. It was very
Mhm.
good. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now we're just talk about season 1. Granted, you probably know more than me because I've only rewatched these once. So like,
Okay.
but yeah, like with season 1, I liked the fact that they had Karen Page come back
Yeah.
in this one because
Yeah.
also with her connection with Frank in the second season, which I think she actually like she signed pretty well in this one too. I think a lot more in Daredevil. I think I liked her in the Punisher,
Mhm.
in my opinion. But yeah, that was a highlight for me. Also, my favorite character in season one was Microchip. I actually really liked the Microchip character because in the comics, Microchip is the guy that gives Punisher his intel and his like weapons. And I like how they actually like took a chance to like take time to like humanize the character. With the idea of like he can never go back to his family because of people thinking that he's a fugitive. That was really cool, and I think that if I'm remember the actor who plays him. Eben Moss, Backrook, playing Microchip.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really good job. Again, like kind of like being like the humanity part of like the Punisher
Yeah,
like
of Frank with
duo.
David Lieberman. He was the human. He brought out the human side of Frank a little bit.
He did.
It's because he was also a family man who was separated in a way like Frank, because Frank's family was killed off, but David had to fake his death to protect his family from the government.
Exactly.
And that brought him out of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I thought he was a really great character. Agent Nadani. Madani. Yeah, Agent
Yes.
Madani. I thought she.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was really good, played by Amber Rose Riva, who I didn't know about until this show. I thought she did a really good job, especially in terms of like finding Frank Castle, because I think he was presumed dead after Daredevil season 2. So like the fact that her like as an FBI agent trying to find Frank Castle was interesting, and also her relationship with Billy Russo, played by Ben Barnes, aka Prince Caspian, for our Narnia fans. I thought I thought the relationship was really interesting, and then obviously ended up with like an interesting downfall as well. What are your thoughts on Bill Nadani and Billy Russo?
Oh God.
I think Billy Russo is great, by the way. I think he's a really great character.
Yeah. I like Russo. Oh my. The final fight of season 1. Oh my
Dude,
God.
literally hard to watch because
Oh my God. Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute, but that fight is probably it's but that's probably it's my favorite scenes from the sub series, from the shows. Probably for me it was.
gotcha.
It's so damn brutal and I love it. um it's with Madani. She's good. I like Madani. I like how hard-headed she is. Her and her partner, I forget his name. Sam, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, um, her pursuit of Frank, who is posing under Pete Castellione because Frank Castle is supposed to be legally dead. Um, and her boss too. I forget her boss's name. She's with the CIA. Not Not with Rollins. I forget the name of the female of her boss. No. Her boss is a from Homeland Security.
gotcha.
I forget his name. I'm getting my canon mixed up. Um, I like Madani. I like her thing with Russo of how she falls for the troubled.
Like the pretty bad boy, basically.
Yeah, it's a pretty boy, and then she ends up deep in over her head and doesn't make the smart choices all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Russo, oh my God, Billy Russo.
Starkly different from the portrayal in Punisher Warzone.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
he's a lot more. I mean, it's a jump ahead for season 2, but he's a lot more. He's a lot more cleaner to look at compared to the
yeah.
how it was in Warzone, which I kind of complained about because I
Well,
remember like seeing him at the start of season 2. It was like, oh, that was it. But then
uh-huh.
I remembered they they have a line at the start of season 2, like of how they fix his whole face. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, well that makes sense. Plus, also too, it's probably hard to act with so much makeup on you.
That's true.
But anyways, I'm sorry for ranting. Is Russo great villain? I like Russo a lot.
Yeah, because wasn't the idea that like he had his own like private like security?
Yeah, his own PMC, I think it was kind of.
Mhm.
I forget the name of it, but again, because him and Frank did a lot of sketchy shit
Yeah,
under Agent Orange,
yeah,
and about with Russo, he was still associated with Agent Orange. It's with Rollins, um, at around that time, but yeah, yeah,
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, like and also like the idea of like the conspiracy with like the military, like the conspiracy with like the government and how like that ties into like Frank's like family being murdered. I thought that was
yeah,
really interesting as well as an interesting angle, and how like that ties with Billy. Season one was pretty strong. I really enjoyed it, even though like again I only watched it one time, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty dope, pretty dope. But oh, also yeah, this guy, sorry, Curtis Hoyle, who's played by Jason R. Moore, that was really cool. Again,
mhm,
humanizing the character of Frank.
yes,
Especially because he was a veteran. Yeah, and he fought with Frank. And I think is he disabled? I think.
yes, he lost his leg. I think
Yeah,
he's a medic.
yeah. He was like a medic. So yeah, that was a really cool character. Again, showcasing like like veterans in the military and all that stuff. I think Billy and Curtis do that job, but like obviously Billy is more of sort of the negative, like the bad route a veteran can take, rather than
Yes,
Curtis is the more righteous,
right, right,
more
right.
like more humble route for a veteran, I think. But yeah,
Well, because Curtis had his, his group
yeah, the group, yeah.
of all the vets, and also he had a subplot with Lewis, a
Mhm.
troubled veteran, a very troubled veteran who held Karen hostage towards the end of the season a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but no, but no, about Curtis, he's among the shows for Netflix, he's among the most pure. He's kind of like Colleen a little bit. He's one of the
Mhm.
people who just wants to help people.
Yeah. Which I thought was really a great thing, especially like from like the violence and all that stuff, like someone that can help
Right,
balance
right.
Frank as a character. But yeah, that's all I gotta say on season one. So there's finally for season two of The Punisher. Again, watched it, not really remembering too much, but only thing I could pick up on was now actually like seeing Billy Russo actually become Jigsaw. I thought
Yeah,
was really cool. Granted, different from the comics because obviously he doesn't have the mangled face. But I like how they it did it in a way where instead of it being like an actual like physical a physical like
it
scarring
was
on his
also
face,
mental.
it was mental, like it was a mental Jigsaw because he lost his memories when Frank beat the living crap out of him.
Yeah,
Not beat the crap out of him, shot him multiple times, shot him in the face, stabbed him, and then rubbed his face in some glass, and then smashed his head.
yeah, yeah.
It was brutally bent him over a glass table, basically. But yeah, so I like that kind of. It was an interesting change. The fact that like they want to do like a more of a mental type of scarring. Oh, that was a cool angle to take. That's different from the comics. But they also did try to play on like the mangled face with the mask that he ends up wearing. Uh,
Yeah.
that was a really cool take on that. What are your thoughts? You're the big Billy Russo fan. What are your thoughts on him as this interpretation of Jigsaw?
As Jigsaw, it was cool. Like about Ben Barnes, he had a lot to work with playing the mentally scarred Russo while trying to piece together what happened to him, and his reaction. It was towards the middle of season two after he robbed the bank with his fellow troubled vets when they
Mm-hmm. I
took
like
it
that.
from the bank manager. It's who would not but from the bank manager, whose name was Lillian, who would
Mhm.
not surrender her bank. It's because her dad fought back in the second, it's World War, and raised it from the ground up. But they had a guy on the inside and got them in. But then Frank goes Russo, and then he takes off the vest from from that fight scene they had. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's for the Punisher logo, and him remembering that battle and his reaction of like, I thought Frank was my friend. How could he do this to me? And
Yeah.
him venting to his therapist, who he later ends up staying with, Krista.
Kristen
Um,
Dumont, yeah, the psychiatrist.
yeah, Kristen Mott.
Well,
I thought that Ben Barnes, it was such a roller coaster of emotions of him having to, his former baseball coach, like hunting him down and taking him out.
mhm.
Him having to amass a private army of people, of troubled vets, and taking down Frank in that warehouse of like stabbing him and everything, and
Yeah.
then him having to mentally scar Frank by making him think that he killed innocent civilians when it was Russo himself, so he could try to make Frank seem as down as he did. Then to then as soon as that phone call ended, he wants to move away with Krista, so he gets Krista it's those flowers, thinking, "Oh my god, I'm gonna start a new thing," and then to see her fall out of a window
Window, yeah.
after a fight, it's with Madani. I was like, oh my god, I can't escape this. Like his former lover took out his current lover, and that's when it all goes downhill. And then his arc ends in Curtis's room. Uh, it's his speech room. It's for the group meetings. Him having to lean against a wall. Only a Frank come in and shoot him unceremoniously. And that's
Yeah.
the end of Russo. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what a character arc. I mean,
Yeah.
Ben Barnes did really good with what he
He
was
did.
given. And he went on a roller coaster as Jigsaw. And it was really cool to see him mentally try to piece together his life, but he just couldn't.
Yeah. And I remember the relationship with him and the psychiatrist kind of twisted because she also had her own baggage that she had
Yeah,
in her
yeah,
past that they kind of like connected on. But yeah, there were some parts with Ben Barnes, like well, with like the Jigsaw arc that like kind of dragged, which is kind of like what kind of arc was
it
season
did.
two for me. But
Yeah,
yeah, but I did like that like this was a different take on the character from the comics that was actually pretty interesting. I did like the fact like yeah, the reveal when like Frank reveals himself and like because I like the fact like his memory because he has amnesia like he has nightmares about the skull like, a lot.
yeah,
So like I loved how that payoff that go with the reveal was really dope. Also, just to move on, like the character of Amy Bendix, who's played by Georgia Wingham, I thought she was really
mm,
cool because she was
yeah,
like the girl who was getting hunted down by I forget like John Pilgrim, who's played by Josh Stewart. Uh,
yeah.
I forgot the reason why, but I thought she was a really cool character, like as a kind of like a weird like Robin to like kind of like a Carrie Kelly Robin to like
Yeah, yeah.
to Frank like to Frank Castle like Batman, I guess. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yes.
it was like a weird like a darker Batman and Robin kind of
A
thing.
darker that's a perfect way to put it, actually. That really
Mm-hmm.
is. And also too, even though she was older than Frank's kids, it was kind of like Frank's second chance to, like, try to be a mentor to someone young
Yeah.
a little bit because, like, but there's a scene early on when they are scouting out the Russians, I think it is, saying, it's when she's talking about Frank to his kids, and she goes, "So how old? So how old would your daughter be?" And Frank has that moment of she'd be, and he pauses and he says her age, and he like reflects on how old but they'd be, and
Mhm.
it's obvious that she can't replace what his kids meant to him, but
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's just there's so much I enjoy about season 2, especially early on. Like I could talk a lot about it, but I know that we don't have
Yeah, we
time
have
and it's
time.
already long enough as. But Amy was an interesting character.
Mhm.
Her showing Frank like it's the card tricks. Oh, and that scene when but they are in the trailer house and Frank shows her how to disarm someone that comes into play later when
Mhm.
Amy takes her first kill, like when captured by the Russian. No, by
Pilgrim.
yeah, but by his employers.
Okay, gotcha.
I forget their name right now, but and then the final scene with them of them saying bye
Mhm.
to send her off to Florida if it's for diving school, and then she'll never see him again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like a bittersweet type thing, but there's like closure at the
yeah,
end. It's really nice. But yeah. Also, I just remember that like Frank tried in the beginning to have a life because he actually like found someone new. I remember that
yes, the
happened in the beginning.
bartender,
The bartender, that was really cool.
Beth. Yeah,
Obviously plans changed when he met Amy. But yeah. So at the ending, I have this GIF. I love this shot so much because it's just a nod to like Punisher War, like the cover of Punisher Warzone where he's just spraying bullets and
I'll
like
dance with you, and then he fucking takes him out.
yeah, he goes,
Yeah.
I
John Bernthal has such a good primal scream.
scream, yeah. Yeah, but so those are like the main things I remember from the show from season 2. I'm probably gonna rewatch them at some point.
Trust me, Mikey. You should, especially season 2. It's got some good moments in it.
Gotcha. But yeah, so yeah, we'll just close up. So, you want to do like a quick ranking? You want to like rank like all of the shows?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I already have one. So for me, I think number one obviously is Daredevil. Daredevil's always gonna be number one. For me, number two is probably going to be Luke Cage, just because I love the character. I love what they did with the show. I love like again the soul. Like Luke Cage was the soul of like Marvel Netflix for me personally, especially because as like a black, as like a black man, as you know, we finally have a hero that we have from like that we like from like a black hero on screen. Because after Luke Cage, all we had was Black Lightning, and then now Black Lightning also got canceled. So like and that show's also great for people who want to like watch a great superhero show, Black Lightning. But yeah, I loved all of it. It just hit my heartstrings with Luke Cage. Two, I think two for me. Like I'm kind of in between like Jessica Jones and like Iron Fist because like I don't like Jessica Jones season 1 is great. Last seasons were not good. Iron Fist season 1 was not good, but season 2 is great. So like I think for me, I think it's just like popular opinion. I think I might put Iron Fist as number 3 again because that ending was so good for season 2 that I was like God. But then but like season, I think maybe they're like I would say like maybe they're together or like Iron Fist top was Jessica Jones. So then Jessica Jones will probably be 4, and then for me, just because I'm not really Punisher guy, but like I did like what they did. But like Punisher probably last for me.
Okay.
But yeah, and these is for my personal opinions. But like I love all these shows. Like these shows are great for the most part. So yeah, what are your rankings?
My ranking's kind of skewed. I don't know if I should do how they affected me, or if I should go by quality overall in the show. I'll just go by quality. It's easier for me. Well, the highest quality show for me is obviously Daredevil.
Yeah.
Second show for me, The Punisher, because that hit me like emotionally. It got me good. 3, probably Luke Cage, because it's got great music and a very colorful cast of characters. Like I think Luke Cage has the most memorable cast. I think, in my opinion, it's the characters. I mean,
very diverse cast. So that's
yeah.
also why I love it so much. So
Jessica Jones is number 4 for its dark material.
yeah,
I really like of how the show chooses not to shy away from rape and PTSD and like it's stuff you can't really show in the mainstream MCU.
It didn't hold back. It didn't hold back.
No, it didn't hold back, and I like that a lot. Especially with things like suicide. That like but that also touched on that a little bit too. So Jessica Jones number 4. 5th is the Defenders because of the crossover and the ambition it had behind it. And last for me would be Iron Fist because of the first season was kind of a mess. It's like it's production wise. Second season it made up for it, but overall it ranks last in my list.
Gotcha. Okay. Actually, you know what? When I'll put Jessica, I'll put defend. I forgot about defenders. I'll put defenders in between Jessica Jones and Punisher. So that because it's just like good. I enjoyed it, but like it's just the payoff was just like it just and just the hand was just not hitting for me. I don't know why, but yeah. So I guess that's what our rankings for it. So I guess you want to do like a quick final thoughts just on the Netflix shows as a whole. I This was a great era, I think, for like this Marvel TV. Uh, I thought I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it like watching it from beginning to end. I really hope that I know Feige isn't stupid, but I really hope he at least brings some of them back. Not
Amen.
all of them, because you don't have to bring all of them, but like at least you should bring Charlie Cox has as a must. Obviously, he did say that he was gonna come back if they ever decided to bring Daredevil back. D'Onofrio, Mike Coulter, Kristen Ritter. For me, Misty Knight, like Colleen and like Simone Missick and wifey Jessica Henwick should come back 100%. Like those are some cash cows over there. They did a phenomenal job with the roles they were given. But yeah, I dug these and how because I love street level characters. I love how grounded stories. So I really miss this stuff. But granted, it's on Netflix, so we can rewatch it anytime you want. So
Yeah, it's never going away as far as we know.
yeah, so those are my final thoughts. I loved it. I loved it. Also, if you want to give an honorable mention, shout out to Cloak and Dagger because Cloak and Dagger is also connected to this.
Oh
If you
yeah,
want Cloak and Dagger,
it's on
because
Hulu, right?
it's on Hulu. Yeah, well, it's on Freeform, but it's
Oh,
also you can watch on Hulu. But yeah, it's also connected to the Netflix universe because Luke Cage is mentioned, Misty Knight is mentioned in there.
mm.
So yeah, I miss this era of Netflix of Marvel television. I hope it does make a triumphant return though. I really do. Alec, what are your final thoughts on it?
My final quick thoughts was that I wish I was on. I wish I joined the hype train as it was airing live. I
Mm-hmm.
I only joined the train about halfway through the lifeline of the era. I caught on, I believe it was around Luke Cage season 2. So it was the summer of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So I was towards the tail end of finally it's being caught up because I spent my summer after high school just catching up on everything and then being caught up. So I'm sad I couldn't join the hype train the whole way, but I'm happy I joined the tail end and having to be excited and waiting to see the stuff that would come out next. It was a very interesting era for Marvel. It was successful enough to where at least one actor has been confirmed to come back. Charlie Cox, at the time of this recording, is confirmed to return, and sooner or later, hopefully, more will be announced soon or confirmed. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, the MCU, the highest grossing franchise out there today, a mass conglomerate the media thing, they are bringing back elements from those small time series. Charlie
Mm-hmm.
Cox is back. And that gives me hope. It really does. I hope to see actors returning. I hope to see D'Onofrio. I hope to see Mike Coulter, but Jessica Jones, but Kristen Ritter. I want to see John Bernthal at
Okay,
some point
no, for sure.
because he's one of my favorite actors up and working today.
Yeah, and
And
don't
I
hold back, Disney. Don't we need
don't hold
he's
back,
as
Disney.
violent as he is. I don't want baby Punisher. No.
Yeah. I am happy that the Marvel Netflix era exists.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, but all right, so we're gonna just close it off and end it here. So thanks for the people that are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate it. Comment, like, subscribe for more content coming up. This week is gonna we have like two more videos we gotta drop before the semester ends. So that's gonna be fun. Alec, Seamus, obviously Seamus is passed out right now, but Alec, thank you for joining me because we were looking forward to this conversation for a while because we
We
love these.
were. We were.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. This was
Me
a lot
too.
of fun. Yeah, but yeah, so we're just gonna end it here. Yeah, thanks for people who are checking us out. Disney, if you're watching this, Daughters of the Dragon, please, Daughters of the Dragon. Give wifey and other wifey more work, please. Please, 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 please. And we will catch y'all next time. All right. Get on safe, people. Bye-bye.